single American. I wasn't going to do it.
All right, here we go. Just waiting. Just waiting. God, I look terrible on this on YouTube. I look better on TikTok, but camera's farther away. You know, I've always said the farther away you hold a camera from me, the better looking I get. Did you know that if you're far enough away, I look just like a love child of John Wayne and Elvis Presley? It's when you get up close, that's when shit goes sideways. Speaking of shit going sideways, wow. Wish I had some good news. I mean, I do. I've got great news. If you own silver, I have the best news I've had all year long. Yes, all year. I'm just waiting. Maybe appreciate the likes, man. Man, woman, I don't know. Mabu's kind of a generic kind of a thing. Can't really tell. It's almost like Malibu. Except you just cut out all the bullshit in the middle. Just with Mabu. It's a cool nickname for Malibu. Although, I've lived in Malibu. And I can tell you that Malibu is full of weirdos. Malibu's strange. Charles, what the hell are you, buddy? All right, yeah, it's weird in Malibu. Malibu's a lot of almost made its has-beens, never gonna be's, and then a few big stars. Exactly. That's exactly why I moved there. I thought, man, my life is over. If Hong Kong's not going to be my friend, fuck it. I may as well just. I'm not going to say it because I know how this algorithm works now. And if I make a snarky joke, it'll go, oh, hate speech, misinformation, bullying, and it'll kick me off. It'll just kick me off. And that will hurt my feelings. I have feelings. Move to Idaho. I have thought very seriously about moving to Idaho because the people in Idaho are very cool. I know you're thinking, oh yeah, it's just because they're all white. No, that's not true, actually. There is a great mix of people up there. Now, the fact that, hi Shirley, the fact that you might see, the average black dude driving a pickup truck, strapped with a 6-shooter, wearing a cowboy hat, does that make me mad? Do I go, hey man, that's cultural appropriation? No. I go, hey brother, welcome to the club. It's kind of fun being one of us rednecks, even if you're a brown neck. Doesn't really matter. Welcome to the club. Yeah, so now there are some people who have a hard time living in Idaho. The freaks and the geeks are a little upset most of the time about something up there. But bottom line is, the way that they put it is, Idaho is as America was. Now, when you think about that, America's never been perfect. But there was a time when you could send your kids to the store. Give them $1, send them to the store to go grab you some hot dogs, or, send them to the store to go grab a candy, but just get them out of the house while you're making dinner or whatever. Didn't really think much of it, Look, if you come in before the streetlights come on, I'm going to whoop your ass. If you're not home by the time the streetlights come on, I'm going to whoop your ass. Great point. Charles, you got a great point. Or they sent you to the store with $1 and a note so you could buy some cigarettes for them. And yes, that worked. Welcome to Idaho. A lot of Californians moved here. Well, but the thing is that, Californians are an interesting bunch. There are some extremely conservative free market enterprise Californians. Remember, California was the birthplace of hot rodders, the birthplace of the Hells Angels. There was some diversity there for a while. Now it's just tofu, macrobiotic, chili eating, ponytail, bun wearing dipshits that all think that if they become a yoga instructor, it'll solve all their problems. Maybe it will. I don't know. I've never been a bun wearing yoga instructor. Clearly, look at me. If you told me to touch my nose to my right heel, you'd hear something pop. I am in the really sad state of Arizona. It is a just total fucking mess here. I'm looking forward to getting the hell out of here. Guy Fieri. I'll take it. I'll take that. Guy Fieri. I got the hell's his name? Damn it. Great author. Yes, I'm drinking a Jolt Cola. Except it's not a cola. It's a Jolt fucking root beer. Can you believe that? God, I love evolution. Honestly, it's not the best root beer I've ever had. Oh, it's zero sugar. I didn't even see that part. Okay, well, that explains why. It's got a little funkiness to the taste, but see, I love parts of Arizona. Prescott. I love Prescott. Flagstaff's okay. Way up in Cave Creek is nice. But the thing is, Maricopa County is the most diverse county culturally in the United States. Yes, it's true. Not only did I see it in a documentary, but I looked it up because I couldn't believe it. So I looked it up, and yeah, actually, it is the most diverse part. Now, I live in far North Phoenix, up by basically North Scottsdale. But I'm on the dividing line between like the good area, and if you just go a little bit that way, a few miles, it's a pretty shithole. And also the biggest county, exactly. And what I found out about our diversity here is Maricopa County is very diverse. But if you look at the sections, like for instance, if you go to the southwest corner, it's almost exclusively Hispanic. If you go to the southern part of Phoenix, like South Phoenix, is almost exclusively Black with some Hispanic. If you go to the northern part of like Carefree and North Scottsdale, it's 98% white. So, yeah, the county's diverse, but we're very segregated here. And, I understand the segregation. I really do, and it makes me sad because there are some people that, they live in some really shitty neighborhoods, and they're victims of a shit education system. Lots of issues. Tempe is absolutely by far my favorite place in all of Arizona. And the reason Tempe is my favorite place is because when you put yourself in that close a proximity to 60,000 young people that are hungry for knowledge, there's a positivity to the air. It's just, yeah, I get it. Okay, there's fraternity guys throwing up at the taco place at 2 o'clock on Saturday morning. Okay, just disregard that. The When you're walking around every day on a Tuesday afternoon, or a Sunday morning, the vibe that you've got in Tempe is so fucking positive. Everybody's there because they want to learn something. And that is cool. That is a really cool vibe. College towns are always better, no question about it. It's a cultural thing. One other thing that I've noticed that is bizarre, but I love it. Port towns. Now, port cities, they're cities, they're big cities. So San Francisco, Seattle, I don't really count Portland, although, shoot, straight shot down the Columbia and you're there. But more than anything, I think of like San Diego, Long Beach, which is different because Long Beach is so, it's just disgusting. It's just a sad, gangbanger controlled. Everybody has this dark vision of the future of San Diego. It's either build huge condo buildings along the port, or B, get completely covered in tattoos and spend $100,000 building a lowrider that jumps 22 feet in the air. Yeah, I may have generalized a bit there. Anyway, extreme Marxist vibe. Where is this? University of Washington. Oh, of course. Yeah. But here's my point. Port towns, not port cities, but port towns like Morro Bay. Morro Bay, California is 5,000 or 6,000 people now. It was 4,000 when I lived there back in the 70s as a little kid. The vibe there, especially down by the docks, is the same vibe that you would get if you were somewhere at some little port town outside of Bangor, Maine. Not Bangor, Maine, though, because that's different. But all little port towns all around. And it almost seems like even when you go to someplace in a different country, little port towns, little port places are always the same. I don't want to, it's something about the ocean, fishing, living by the sea, being a part of something that is super vast, uncontrollable, and you have to really accept that, today's a good day. It could be my last, but it's a good day. And that, when you go out fishing, especially nor'easters and shit, man, or think about Alaska. Oof, man. Yeah, Morro Bay was something else. The only thing I didn't like about it was the cosmic shift from living in the Hollywood Hills and basically being a prop, because that's what any kid is in Hollywood. Nobody wants kids. It's the Hollywood. Everybody parties. Everybody wants to, it is literally one of the global epicenters of just do whatever makes you feel good. It's pretty rough place. There we go. Now I've got my sign in the background. What do you call that? Hedonism, hedonics, for the pleasure of, in Latin. So it's an interesting place. When I got to Morro Bay, everybody knew what you were doing before you did it. Well, Monica. Yeah, you get home from school and your parents would go, "Oh, did you have fun playing with so and so?" Yeah, I only stopped and talked to him and hung out with him for 10 minutes. But, it just so happened that their parents called my parents and said, "Hey, just so you know, if your kid's a little bit late, he's out in my front yard." Oh, well, that was if it was good news. If it was bad news, it got to your house faster. Trust me. Hey, I think it's your son that is sitting on that homemade go-kart without an engine at the top of the hill. I hope that's not him because I don't think that thing has brakes. It looks like they just took wheels off a baby carriage, and that's a pretty big cross street at the bottom. I'm not saying that I would do something that stupid. We actually got another kid from our neighborhood to go down first. And just to show you the type of kids we were, because hell, what happens if he gets hit? It's not good. We don't want our friends getting hit. So somebody went down to the bottom of the hill, stood in the cross right in the middle of the intersection, and went, okay. Now, I believe it was the third time I went down. Yeah, I went down too, obviously. I just didn't go down first. I'm not stupid. I'm not that stupid. But about halfway down, I think it was probably the third time, my buddy said, "Oh, no, stop, there's cars coming." He knew I didn't have brakes. He just thought it would be funny to scare me for a second. Well, guess what? I have cat-like reactions. I'm a decision maker. I'm a decider, goddammit. So I did what any decider would do, and I whipped the steering rope. I whipped the rope that way, so it went straight into somebody's hedge at about 25 miles an hour. Yeah, so I had to explain that to my parents. I was pretty bloodied up. Nothing deep, nothing that required stitches. Just a lot of paper towels and my dad loved it though. He absolutely loved it because every single scratch got the same treatment. Every scratch. He'd get out a cotton ball and he'd cover it with mercurochrome. That shit burned like fucking white phosphorus. And he made sure that he got all the cuts. I miss being a child. I didn't play football. I played football in high school for 1 year. And then I realized that I didn't really like football players. I didn't like the guys on my team. They were a bunch of meathead dicks, and they were kind of the bullies. And I just, there were a couple guys that were like super cool, all-American types, like that kid who goes to church on Sundays, got his shit together. They're probably Mormons. And, but a lot of the guys were just big loudmouth bullies, and they weren't very bright. So that was my only year playing football until somebody in the Marine Corps came to me and said, "Hey man, we've got a regimental football team." And I said, "Really? I'm not very good." And he said, "What do you mean you're not good?" And I said, "Well, I don't know the plays." And he goes, "Do you like to hit people?" And I said, "God, I fucking love it." And he goes, "You're good. You just don't know it yet." So yes, I played a lot in the Marine Corps. And then when I was 38, I went and played in college at Scottsdale College. Chokes. Yep, artichokes. That's actually our mascot, was an artichoke. Yeah, we had Artie the Artichoke was our mascot because the regents wanted a purely academic school, an arts school. They didn't want a bunch of people that looked like me or thought like me on the campus. But of course, the people with the money said, "No, you have to have a football program." And they said, "Yeah, okay, we'll have a football, but we're going to make our mascot an artichoke." And if you've ever seen an artichoke when it blooms, it's beautiful. Now, cast your mind back. What color was that artichoke when it bloomed? Was it pink? Because that was the color of the artichoke's uniforms. Imagine running into your own stadium, and as you're running into the stadium wearing pink and light sage green, having all of the people in the entire place that are your fans, they're on your side yelling, "Choke, choke, choke." Yeah. So, but I mean, hey, playing college football when you're 38 is not something most people do. Scott Walter, the guy from America Unearthed, strangely enough, he's a friend of mine. He actually played when he was 38 years old as well, which just blows my mind. He's the only person I've ever met that played that late in life. And he did way better than I did. He went to a bowl game. He got MVP. I mean, come on, most valuable player at a bowl game. By that point, he was 40. I mean, Scott's a stud. He is, no question. But yeah, it was, football was fun. It was just by the time I got done, let's just say I had sowed my wild oats. I didn't drink. I didn't drink at all. Not a drop, because it was just not that time. I quit for 20 years. And so I wasn't drinking. And so I was sober for all of it. I remember everything. And so it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting, I learned that the differences between generations is more vast than you can imagine. Kids these days don't wait for the third date to do anything. It's kind of scary, actually, because they don't get married either, and they don't want children. It's like, oh, so what do you want? Just have some casual sex on the first date. And then if I never talk to you again, that's okay. We still be friends someday online. Okay, wait, that's weird. What about at least lying and saying we're going to go out for ice cream? Nope, none of that. Straight to the point. It was weird. It was actually very strange. I went to school whose mascot was a spud. That's awesome. That is actually the only thing I can think of that might be less, what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive than Artie the artichoke, because at least artichokes have thorns. I mean, you mess with an artichoke, you could get poked. You mess with a spud, you end up with French fries, I guess. By the way, I love potatoes. I can't eat potatoes. I mean, I can. I do. I ate a potato today, at least one. But yeah, some people can eat potato. Like my buddy's Irish. Now, I'm not joking. This is not some racist thing. He's Irish. He eats fucking potatoes all day, every day. He can eat a dozen potatoes in a day. Like he'll have some protein and potatoes and some more protein, a little bit like pork chop and a huge bunch of potatoes. And then he'll have a little bit of chili and a huge bunch of potatoes. And it's like, and the guy's like a rail, never gains a pound. I don't get that. Although I don't know if I'd gain weight if I just ate potatoes or not, because I never just eat potatoes. I eat potatoes and loaves of bread and gallons of milk every fucking day and pounds of bacon and pounds of steak. And it's like, so which one made me balloon up? It could be a compendium of all of them. I did go and get checked. Boy, does that cover a wide variety of sins, huh? I'm definitely going to try Red Devil pizza. I might do that tonight because I don't have a plan for dinner tonight. And Red Devil is right down the street. I did go and get checked because I've gained 70 pounds. And I've gained it in a very short amount of time. And everybody keeps saying the same thing to me, and it wasn't making sense. So I was getting a little nervous. People were saying, "Man, you look great. You look good. You look like big, strong. Like, yeah, no, I gained 70 pounds. I look like a pig, right? And they're like, no. So I went to the doctor and I said, hey, doc, what the fuck is going on, man? He said, well, let's run some blood tests. He ran my blood test and he said, oh, you know how your testosterone was like this much? And I said, yeah. He was lower than that 90-something-year-old woman, the grandma that we tested. I said, yeah, don't rub it in. It was a good testosterone level's 800 for, a guy who's in his 20s. Now it starts to fall off. Yeah, I'm just big bone, damn it. So it starts to fall off. By the time you're, let's just say, over 38, like I am, barely, then you get to a point where it can be down around 300 from 800. That's a big difference. Now, that's when you hear words like wise old men, because the testosterone and the wisdom, typically they don't always go up together. So I went and I got tested. This was a while ago. And my doctor said, yeah, you're not, I said, I want to be like normal, maybe a little high for my age. And he said, okay, well, you're at 60. And I said, 60 what? And he was 60. And I said, wait, you don't mean on the scale of like 795 to 400? That's not what you mean. He goes, no, that's what I mean. And I said, and I'm at 60? And he goes, yeah, you're at 60. And I said, how is that even possible? I'm 6'7". And he goes, yeah, you're free testosterone though. And I was like, oh, free testosterone. That's important because that's what elevates your mood, makes you horny, but it elevates your mood, makes you feel good. Like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I'm a manly man. I got that. Yeah. Well, it should be anywhere from 11 to 15. Mine was, ready for this? 1. Now, like, what do you say to that? This is in January. And I said, you're kidding, right? Like, how could it be that low? That's literally like, that's 1 away from nothing. Like nothing. And he goes, yeah, it's almost impossible. And I said, well, how? And he goes, were you taking like supplements? Like, yeah, take this, it'll raise your testosterone naturally. And I said, yeah, I was. I didn't feel like they did much. And he goes, oh, they did quite a bit, because when you stop taking them, your testosterone just completely shut off. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, you take that stuff and it pushes it up, but then you stop taking it, it just falls way below. And I thought, oh, I get this. I understand this. Silver. And then all of a sudden, instead of the baseline, he goes way up, and you go, uh-oh, and then way down. And then eventually it comes back up again. Okay, now I get it. So I said to him, what do I do? He said, workout, eat right. I said, yeah, but whatever. All that's already happening. What else? He said, you can take testosterone. And I said, okay. How much? And he said, well, we'll put you on X amount of milligrams and X amount of cc's and a bunch of bullshit that I had no reference point to. So I was like, yeah, what? Okay, whatever. I went back and said, doc, we got a problem. Like, is it bad that I've gained 73 pounds? And he said, it could be very bad. So they tested me again because they thought, okay, well, you know what? Some people react really badly to it. And what happens is they gain a huge amount of water weight. They like balloon up with water weight, and it's very dangerous. And with some guys, you balloon up with water weight and because your testosterone went up, your estrogen levels spike, and then all kinds of bad shit happens. And I said, is that what's going on? And he said, let's check. So the good news is that out of the 70 pounds, well over half of it's muscle. And that's which explains why I can break a sweat by tying my shoes now. Because I am literally 353 pounds. So if I wanted to go play football again, I probably could, but I don't want to. So he said it's easy. This is really simple because you put on such a huge amount of muscle. All you have to do is do cardio. And I said, cardio? I hate cardio. And he said, yes, I know. We all hate cardio. And I said, why don't you tell me to stretch too? Because that's another thing men hate. And he said, well, actually, I was going to suggest like yoga or something. So, needless to say, I've tried yoga. I went all the way through a 90-minute heated yoga session. All the women, and it was all women except for me, all the women were so impressed. They were like, I can't believe you made it your very first time. And I was like, you know what? I really appreciate that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go puke all over the trash can in the bathroom. And they did. I got to tell you, it's an interesting thing right now because I don't fit into any of my clothes anymore. I can't button my pants. None of my suits fit. It's like on the one hand, when I get up in the morning and I stretch and I take a deep breath, I feel like, why open my bedroom door? It'd probably be more fun to just see if I can run straight through that motherfucker. So it definitely, the testosterone is definitely kicking in. No question about that. Yeah, I find myself literally sitting, watching movies and flexing. Not for anybody's sake, just because I just want to just flex, which is really funny because, I mean, I don't even know if I did that when I was in high school. I mean, maybe I did. I don't remember. It was 10,000 years ago. But yeah, testosterone's it's not a joke, man. This shit really works. So I'm super happy about that. I'm not happy about going from 280 to 353 pounds because even though everybody swears to God that I look great, it's just so much weight. Oh, I know. Yep. Yeah, I donate blood all the time anyway. I'm O positive. So I donate blood about I think it's every 8 weeks. So I'm good there. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple of months. Yeah, walking the dog. That's not fun anymore. I will break a sweat walking to the end of the driveway. What's that in there, Mad Mike? Yeah, it's really interesting. It's, I mean, you could tell that it's not a joke. This shit really works. Do you get out of breath? Right now, yeah. Right now I do because, the other thing, because, I don't want anybody to think that like, if you take testosterone, if your doctor prescribes it to you, you're automatically going to gain 70 pounds like I did. That's not how it works. First of all, because I started at damn near 300 pounds, because of the fact that my testosterone levels were so incredibly low, based on the fact that I had just gotten done starving myself. I mean, starving myself for almost 2 months. I would eat once a day, vegetables. It was a bitch. But I wanted to lose some weight. I wanted to get down to where, I could fit in all of my old clothes from 20 years ago. Well, I did. But then I went to the doctor and they said, dude, your testosterone is through the basement so low. Like literally 80-year-old women have testosterone higher than this. And I said, well, shit, I mean, it's not like I got a girlfriend or a wife. So, the whole horny thing it's not that big a deal. And I told him I'm writing a book. So literally, I don't probably have time for any of the shenanigans. I just I'm up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning writing. And then I go back the next day and change everything. And that's just the way I am. That's the way my brain works. And then you get done, which I have gotten done a couple times with the book, and you go, okay, that's good. That's good. That's solid. That's solid. And then you go, okay, but is that like my grandest vision of what this book could be? Like, is that something that I'm going to look back and go, man, I knocked that shit out of the park? No, it's good. But could it be something that 1 million people buy because everybody talks about it and says, look, this fucking guy nailed it. Like, this is common sense. You want this book. And it's like, okay, I should add this other part. I was going to make this a video addendum to the book because I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to make videos specifically to go with the book. Because the thing is, look, do you want to read 800 fucking pages? Nobody does. Nobody wants to read that. Now, can I make 100 pages of explanations entertaining? Yes. Manageable? Yes. Can I make lists and things that you need to check off? Can I add, more pages of just those things? Sure. Could I make it 450 pages of just story? That's not the kind of book it is. I need to explain things to people in order to get a point across. Well, that's the thing. It's going to be an audio book. It's also going to be a PDF. But very importantly, as I go along, because again, you're never done. You're never done. I'll give you an example. Right now, there are people around the world that are about to go into a scenario that's very similar to what I have in the book, but they won't lose power. But they're going to be fighting for resources. People will die. Absolutely, no question in my mind. People will die because of what we did to Iran. And I'm not talking about bombing. I'm talking about people in places like Bangladesh, all over Africa, people in I'm guarantee you in China. There will be people that lose their lives because of starvation. There are people who are going to lose their lives because they can't buy the fuel they need for this coming winter. And I know it's summertime. Shit, it's not even summer. It's spring still. Who's thinking about wintertime? You have to think in terms of quarters, not days. So what's 10 from now? Well, 10 what? 10 days? No. 10 months? No. 10 quarters? Yeah, what's 10 quarters from now? Well, shit, 10 quarters, that's like what, 5 years, right? Yeah, it's about 5 years. Okay. So what's going to happen over the next 5 years? Well, based on this and this will happen, that'll happen. This can't help but happen now. And if this happens, that's how you have to do it. My mom used to do this to me all the time. It was my stepmom. And I had 2 stepmoms. One was fucking brutally abusive to me and just hated me. I was the reason that she couldn't run off with my super cool CIA dad that looked like Sylvester Stallone. And believe me, he did. He had jet black hair and green eyes. Where the fuck? My mom looked exactly like me, blonde hair, blue eyes, etc. But my second stepmom was a very quiet, hippie, pot smoking librarian from Santa Monica named Karen, an ironic name because she was totally the anti Karen. Just the sweetest, quietest, most passive, wonderful person. Smoked pot, had 1,000 fucking bromeliads throughout our house. It was the 70s. And plants everywhere. She was just the perfect, like, hippie 70s girl. 5'4" and 100 pounds, soaking wet. She used to say to me, because I would just say things, it's like an autism thing. You just say what you mean. Well, you can't do that in life. And so she would say to me, remember the Sesame Street skit where the little girl walks into the room and her big sister sees that she has a balloon. And then she thinks, hey, I have a pin and she has a balloon. It would be fun to pop the balloon just to startle my sister. And then she gets ready to pop the balloon, but then she stops. She has another thought bubble. Okay, but what happens if I pop the balloon? And then it goes to another thought bubble. Well, she's going to cry. And then another, well, what if she cries? Well, then my mom will come in to see why she's crying. And then what happens? Well, then my mom wants to know how the balloon got popped. And then what happens? You see where I'm going with this? And she would go over this fucking skit with me all the time. And it's interesting because it didn't really dawn on me until years later that that's why I became so fucking good at econ. Because I always think, and then what? And then what happens? Okay. And then what happens? And I always do the same thing. What? Then what? Then what? And if you back that out and you go, okay, but take that up one level. How does that happen? Well, somebody has to do this. Okay, but why would you do that? Well, there are these three reasons. Okay, well, which one of them take out like personal vendettas or vengeance or any personal motives, then why would you do that? Well, profit. Oh, okay, so there's a profit motive. Okay, so what's the profit motive here? Okay, well, this is their motive for making this thing happen, but how does that affect me? How does that affect you? Oh, now I see that, okay, well, if this happens, and I'll give you a perfect example. You guys want a great example? Here's a great example. Share this live right now with your friends because this is about to happen. Nobody knows it yet, but remember, you heard it here first. So, we all know that there was this little war thing. Okay, we tied. Ask anybody. We fought to a standstill. We tied. First tie in the history of warfare. Whatever. It's new age. God bless us. Here's my point. The Strait of Hormuz, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. I don't care what it is right now, okay? And neither should you, because open or closed is irrelevant. What's relevant is there were 3 tankers that had said, fuck it, turned around and started to haul ass for the United States because we've got so much oil. Okay, now, that was 3 tankers. There are now 170 tankers steaming towards the United States. 170 tankers. What do you think happens next? Do we have oil? We got lots of oil, right? Drill, baby, drill. Not exactly. And here's why. Is that oil ours? Hell yeah, it's ours. Right. Moon Monster, ready to sell, man. Come on, baby, bring those boats. We'll fill those motherfuckers up. Whose oil is that? It ain't yours. Ain't yours. Oh, yeah, it may be coming out of the ground in the United States of America. But remember, we're not a bunch of commie pinko bastards here. That oil doesn't belong to the people of the United States. Oh, you want it? You want that oil? Well, guess what? You're going to have to bid on it just like everybody else. Now, how much is China willing to pay for that oil? You see where I'm going with this, I hope. China's willing to pay whatever the fuck they have to for that oil because their economy will collapse without it, period. They have two of those tankers that are on their way over here right now are the huge 2 million barrel tankers. Just two of the 170 will literally amount to half of our strategic reserve, which, by the way, we haven't filled back up since Biden emptied it to force oil prices down to get reelected. It still didn't work, but guess what? He literally destroyed our strategic reserve to drive prices down. And now we're about halfway back to full, and we've got 170 oil tankers that are steaming right towards us. They're going to buy that oil because they have to. China has to buy that oil. Indonesia has to buy that oil. Japan must have that oil. What will they pay? Or more importantly, what are you going to pay? We have to bid on the oil. We do. We fucked ourselves royally. There are 700 more tankers that are waiting to get out of the Strait of Hormuz to come here. They are right now ready to take 2 years of our oil supply, and we're going to sell it to them. Hey, free market, right? Hey, it's a free market, man. Don't bitch. This is capitalism. You sell that shit to the highest bidder. That's it. Drill, baby, drill. There's only one problem. All of those capped wells, all the wells that we have, and we have thousands of them. You have to understand, we have 100-year supply of oil in the United States. We win. We fucking win. When it comes to the net result, the United States of America wins. Does that mean that the citizens of the United States win? No. Fuck no. It's not your oil. No, I get it. It's in your national park. I get that. I get the fact that it's in our land, but it's not our oil. Because when Chevron pulls that shit out of the ground, it belongs to Chevron. When Royal Dutch Shell pulls it out of the ground, it belongs to Royal Dutch Shell or British Petroleum. It's not your oil. We can bring up oil from Venezuela. Yeah, it's higher sulfur content. It'll only take us a few years to get it to the point where we can clean it up and sell it. There will be blood, absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. They're drinking your milkshake right now. The oil companies in the United States are trans-global, multinational. The flag of the United States of America is fucking asswipe to them. They don't care. Your Constitution doesn't mean shit. There is no Jesus Christ. That's a joke. Judaism doesn't exist. It is money. That's the only thing that they worship. And they have the greatest natural resource in the United States. And fuck you, you can't touch it unless you're willing to outbid China. What? Wait, how did we get in this situation? They were buying that shit from, oh shit, they were buying that from Iran. Yup. And Saudi Arabia and the UAE and everybody else. And we attacked a country that had 88,000 drones that we knew they had 88,000 drones. By the way, that's just drones. That's just their cheap, shitty little rocket launched, petrol engine, propeller driven drones. Those 88,000 of them before the war started. We have no idea how many they have now because they went into uber production. Like every natural resource in that country got sold at higher prices, by the way. And then they took the money and they built more drones and more rockets. So they're going absolutely nuts. Well, here's the thing. I can tell you this, Joseph. I'm going to assume that if your hat size and your IQ weren't the same, you'd understand what I'm talking about. But that's okay. You can't underestimate Trump. You cannot underestimate a man who makes a joke about murdering civilians. You can't underestimate a man who protects pedophiles. You can't underestimate a man who says that maybe after he wins the war, he'll just keep bombing them for a while just for fun. Those were his words. Quote, just for fun. Jeffrey Dahmer killed people just for fun. John Wayne Gacy killed people just for fun. So, no, there's nothing to calm down about. I'm tired of people being stupid. Oh, it's no big deal. We're just killing the Iranians. Well, like, what are they, humans? Yeah, they're fucking humans. So, it's hard for me to understand how people can disassociate from humanity so badly. The part that really amazes me is that some of these people have the audacity, the temerity to call themselves Christians and still call for the murder of people. How do you do that? That doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, back to before dipshit who doesn't realize what I'm talking about said, quit babbling. We are going to have to pay for this war. Now, what does that mean? Well, what it means is oil prices don't matter. Oil prices don't matter. What matters is, can you get it? Can you get the oil? Is it possible to get the oil? Okay. No, it's not. For India? No. As a matter of fact, you want to know how bad it is in India for guys who think I'm drunk and babbling? You know that in India, the culture is that you have a funeral pyre, right? Nope, can't do it. You can't cremate people right now because they don't have the gas. So people have been using wood again. There's a problem though, because there's 1.4 billion people in India. What the hell? They can't use gas to cremate their dead, so they're going back to using wood, and it's literally creating a huge air pollution problem. This is happening right now. The add-on effects of what we just did don't stop here. What I can tell you is, I've told you before, buy silver here, don't buy it here. I told you when it hit 120, it makes me kind of nervous right now. Guy asked me if he should buy more at 120. I told him, look, just give it a few days. Thank God I did. I would buy as much precious metals as I possibly could right now. And the reason I say that is because if you think that the 10% inflation that we're in right now, I've been studying econ for 35 years. That's not just my opinion, though. If it were just me out here in the wilderness crying to the wolves in the half moon that, hey, inflation's terrible. No, everybody sees it. You can go to the Fed. You can go to the St. Louis Fed and look. Things are getting really crazy. Well, that's the problem. Is he said 20%. I would have, look, 5 days ago, I would have said, no, don't worry about 20%. 13% absolutely is possible if we don't quit this war bullshit. Led by fuel. Now, CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is everything sans, meaning without food and fuel. What? Wait a fucking minute. The Consumer Price Index is supposed to be an index of things that consumers need. Yeah. Well, okay, but food and fucking fuel, why would you take that out of the equation? Well, we still have pocket watches in there. Just kidding. We don't have pocket watches, but they may as well. Butter's up 22% month over month. See, this is a tiny taste of what's coming. Do you understand that the natural gas that when we blew up their natural gas and then they said, oh yeah, watch this, and then they blew up Qatar's natural gas or Bahrain's natural gas, the first and second largest depots in the fucking world. Do you realize what that means? It means no fertilizer. Now, sure, can we make fertilizer? Yeah. Can we make enough to give to Ukraine, the breadbasket of Europe? Nope. Russia? Nope. What about China? Nope. Okay, well, wait a minute. Who's going to give them fertilizer then? Because they got it from the Middle East. Oh, shit. Well, that's a good question. So what did we accomplish? Well, I don't care. I don't care what we accomplished. It doesn't matter anymore because it's not about did we win or did we lose. Let's just call it a tie. We tied. Went to war. We tied. Hey, beats the shit out of what happened in Vietnam, right? We got our ass kicked there. Hey, it beats Afghanistan, where we left billions and billions of dollars for the bad guys, even though they're not the bad guys. The Taliban obviously are on our side. They must be because we're still sending them millions of dollars a week right this minute. You guys want to know something funny? This is gonna piss you off, especially if you're MAGA. Scott Bessent, new guy, right? New guy at the Fed. Do you know who he used to work for? Whose right-hand man he was? Who he made one of the richest men on earth with his consulting? That's right. George fucking Soros. Clearly, I must be joking, right? Clearly, this guy just threw out George Soros, and I just thought it'd be funny to agree with him, right? Clearly, you can't have George fucking Soros's right-hand man, the guy who found the glitch in the Bank of England, the glitch in their currency, and went to George Soros and showed him how to exploit it and break the Bank of England and make George Soros $3 billion in one evening. One evening while he was at the symphony. I've seen the story. I've seen George Soros tell the story. He said, I walked into, I believe it was the opera. Walked into the opera. I walked out 2 hours later, $3 billion richer. That's how he got his start. This is Besant. This is our guy who just sailed right through confirmation. Explain to me how the guy who is George Soros's right-hand man, who's been investing George Soros's money for all these years, who is right now under investigation by the Department of the Treasury. He's under investigation. Major fraud allegations, major criminal allegations brought against him by the Department of the Treasury that he now runs. Besant's good at one thing. He's good at one thing: destroying currencies. Destroying currencies. Folks, you can't destroy silver. This is real. It's been real for 10,000 years. This is real. You can't pretend that this is worth more or less than it is. And it's agreed upon worldwide, globally. No, of course I'm not a Democrat. No, what I am is I'm a guy who's willing to admit when he fucks up. Did I like Trump? Yeah. I mean, not personally. I thought he was an asshole. But did I think that he would be a good president the second time around? Yeah, absolutely. Am I absolutely shocked that they fucking pulled the wool over my eyes again for the third time now? Yeah. See, they didn't pull the wool over my eyes with Bush. I didn't give a fuck about Bush. I knew Bush was a dipshit, and I knew that you know, what's his name? I watched him in his debates. I voted for Perot. How could you vote for that idiot, Al Gore? Al Gore was a buffoon. He was a character. He was like literally a cartoon caricature of himself. He was the ultimate worthless Southern Democrat, never worked a day in his life, and told Ross Perot, who turned a $600 loan into a $3.5 billion corporation, told him he didn't know what he was talking about when it came to business. Told him that signing NAFTA and GATT, the General Agreement on Trade with all the other nations of the world, would be good for us. Has that been good for us? I don't think that's been good for us. Well, thank you. I try to be funny. I try to throw a few laughs in here with my total outrage. Ross Perot was the last true American industrialist who cared about the United States and wanted to do the right thing. Ross Perot was a real man. Since then, we have not had a single real man. Ross Perot literally broke out charts and bought half-hour infomercials and took a pointer and pointed, this is what happens and this is what will happen. Well, it's a funny thing when you're running against somebody like Bush. You know, George Bush was in charge of the CIA. George Bush probably made sure that the rescue attempt to get the hostages out of Iran failed. George Bush is the only Jesse Ventura. Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't do it now. He realizes just what a zero-sum game it is. I watched Jesse Ventura taking questions from an auditorium full of people after he was no longer governor. And there were people in there that, they got up. These are grad students. These are econ students. These are people who should know. And one of them said, but you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and you promised to do this, and you promised to do that. And Jesse Ventura said, okay, you know what? Right there, let's just take what you just said. Let's go point by point. All right. When this happened, I did this, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the outcome was that this percentage of things went up. Yeah. Okay. And then this happened. And he went through every single thing, and every single thing that he pointed out, he was like, and it worked, right? Yeah. Okay. So, but literally, I just went over everything he said. Everything he just said, you just agreed with me that the state got better. And the guy was like, well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay, look, yeah, I mean, some things did get better. And everybody in the auditorium started laughing, and I thought, he's not a stupid guy. This guy in the auditorium, he's not stupid. He was embarrassed after it was pointed out that, look, everything you just said was wrong. But how does he get to a point where he feels so confident in his own opinion that he gets up in front of 1,000 people and says something that is patently provable untrue? Media. You hear the same thing over and over and over. You just assume it's true. Now, I learned this a long time ago. This is like PsyOps 101. If you hear the same thing from 3 different sources, by the 3rd time you hear it, you truly question whether or not it's actually true, no matter how ridiculous. If I ran up to you in the morning and I go, hey, man, are you going to work today? You didn't hear the thing about the aliens invading? And you go, what? Aliens invading? Whatever, dude. Have a great day. You get to work, somebody comes up to you and goes, dude, you heard the thing about the aliens, right? And you're like, somebody said some crackpot about aliens invading? Yeah, that's what I heard. Huh, weird. Next time somebody comes up to you and goes, holy shit, dude, did you hear? You go, about the aliens? Yeah, I heard about that. What the fuck is going on, man? I guess they invaded. Just like that. You're done. You're fucked. Now what happens is your ego starts to get involved and you go, well, I can't be wrong. I mean, that would make me look stupid. I can't look stupid. I'm not stupid. Do you know how many times I've said I don't know or I was wrong just on the live stream, let alone throughout my life? It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The only people who are absolutely certain that they're never wrong are idiots who are always wrong. She'll remain nameless because I don't want everybody to think my ex-wife is an idiot. But she turned to me one night while she was drinking wine and said, you know that the sun's that color because it's made of gold, right? Now, you guys know I study solar science. I'm like, if you've been on this channel, you know I study solar science a lot because I believe that other than what's going on right now in the country and in the world, a solar flare is the greatest threat. Absolutely, by far, the greatest threat. We should have one any day that knocks out the grid. Now, we might not. But if we don't, that goes against the odds. If you flip heads with a quarter 35 times in a row, and then I say, what do you think it's going to be? And you say heads, you're an idiot. After 35 times, come on. If it's actually a real quarter, it's got a heads and a tails. The odds of it not being tails are astronomically slim. We can look at dendrochronology, which I study, which is tree rings. I know. You're thinking, oh, well, fuck, that explains why you don't get laid. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I can study tree rings and tell you when the last solar flare was. I can study ice core samples, which I don't do. So there's hope for me. I may meet a girl yet. But you can study ice core samples and find out when the last solar flare was. On average, every 150 years. A major solar flare, Earth facing. We get much bigger solar flares all the time that luckily don't point at us. But trust the science, which is literally the most anti-science thing you can possibly say. Don't test the science. Trust the science. So anyway, we are way overdue. We are way, way overdue for a massive solar flare. And it's nobody's fault. Nobody's fault. Okay? Odds don't stack. God, I wish I knew where you lived so we could play poker together. Because even though I don't play, I have a funny feeling I'd probably take home your life savings. I understand what you're saying about reset. And I know that it's possible. I walked into a batting cage once, and all my friends were ready to have an amazing show because I can literally rip the skin off a fucking baseball. And I was pointing to where they were all going to go, and they were going everywhere. And I said, shit, boys, I can't miss tonight. I missed 29 pitches in a row after that. 29 pitches in a row. And no, it wasn't mental. It wasn't like I booby-trapped my brain or something. I was swinging for the fences, man. I was trying to hit the some bitches. I could not hit one after that. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know the rest of the song. So, where are we at right now? Well, okay, so there's 170 oil tankers heading this way. They're on their way here right now, and they're thirsty. So knowing that the United States of America was built on whoreism, brothel mentality, we're going to sell that oil to the highest bidder. Not you. Nobody gives a fuck what you need. What we need, we being big oil corporations, is to maximize profit. It's written into the law that we have to maximize profit for our shareholders. It's a law. If I don't do that, I could go to prison. So if I play fair and I try to let the United States of America and its citizens have some of its, say, I don't know, Texas oil back, no, I can't do that. Oh no, we can accommodate them all. It will take a huge amount of our oil supply right now. Now, over the course of the next few years, we can build up. We can have all of those corked wells uncorked. They're just sitting there. You can't just activate one, go drop a machine in it and start pumping the next day. Doesn't work that way. However, over the course of the next couple years, we can uncork them. Here's the problem with that. If we uncork those wells and everybody starts drinking our milkshake, number one, we will then run out of oil before Saudi Arabia, before Russia, before anybody else, before Venezuela, before any place in South America. We don't want to do that. Our plan was, let's buy up everybody else's oil. Let's use up everybody else's energy. And then when it's all said and done, hey, baby, we got Prudhoe Bay up in Alaska. That's a 100-year supply for the United States. Not 99, not 22 years. It's a 100-year plus supply guaranteed. That's not going offshore. That's not going offshore. It is such a massive oil reserve up there. But guess what? Running out of oil is just bullshit. That whole peak oil thing was just total corporate bullshit. Just like think about this. The big oil heist of the early 70s, what was that about? Oh God, we're running out of oil. We're running out of oil. No, we're not. It was an embargo. The cartel said no. It's the only cartel that's legally allowed in the world. If I tried to make a car cartel, if I tried to make an airline cartel, all the airlines colluded to fix prices. Oh, guess what, guys? That's what RICO's for. Oh, this is illegal as fuck. You can't do that. Really? I can't? No. Well, wait a minute. How in the world do you have OPEC, the Oil Producing Economic Consortium? How do you have that? That's a cartel. Yeah. It's the oil cartel. Yeah. But we just agreed that you can't have cartels. They can have that one. Why? Because they have the oil. If they have the oil, they can do whatever they want, really. I mean, they wanted one, and so we agreed to let them have one. As long as they used our dollars. As long as they use the petrodollar, hell yeah, you can have your... Look, guys, you want a cartel? You want to call yourselves kings and queens? You want to have 20,000 princes all around Saudi Arabia? You want to bring in Swedish hookers? You want to bring in literally kilo after kilo of cocaine and do everything that your religion says you can't do? Go for it. But remember, petrodollar. Don't fuck with us. Well, guess what? The petrodollar is dead. Period. DOA, dead on arrival. Saudi Arabia has already signed an agreement directly with China. Saudi Arabia and China will now trade in yuan. Oh, well, that sucks. Who was the last person to do that? Saddam Hussein. You ever wonder why we had to go back in and get that guy? Like, why did we go into... Look, why did we go into Iraq after 9/11? Well, because Israel wanted us to, and it was a handy way to tidy up some of these issues like, oh, I don't know, the idea that Saddam Hussein would be trading oil for aid or maybe French francs. Wait, he was trading oil for francs? No. Nobody gets away with that. Well, the BRICS was something that Donald Trump said would never happen, period. And I, foolishly, got excited. And if you remember, and I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube because it saves all of my live streams. What I said when he was elected was, I'm cautiously optimistic. And people said, well, wait a minute. Why are you cautiously optimistic? And I said, I'm cautiously optimistic because based on what he's saying, it would be fantastic. Tariffs instead of personal income tax? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Literally, what's the date today? April 20th. You've been working for yourself now, for your own betterment, for your own retirement, for your own future for 5 fucking days. Every day from New Year's Eve until 5 days ago, every single penny of that was given to the government. None of that was for you. None of it was for you. 4.5 months? Are you kidding? 4.5 months? You worked your ass off for 4.5 months. You took that money and you gave it to the government. What the fuck did they give back to you? Nothing. They gave it to Israel, who then gave it to AIPAC, who then bribed our own people with it. They gave it to Ukraine, who stole half of it and bought super yachts that are now sitting in the Mediterranean. What the fuck is going on here? What is going on here? So when he said, hey, look, no more personal income tax. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Do you have any idea what would happen if the lower 80% of the people in this country, who only account for $11 trillion, $11 trillion, the lower 80%, okay? The top 1%, $44 trillion in net worth. 44 trillion for this little tiny percentage. The other 80% are 11 trillion. These are the people who get fucked the hardest by our government, screwed, destroyed financially. Guys, it's all going haywire. It's all going haywire. I just found out that 180,000 children got taken off of food stamps in Arizona alone. What? Why would you take 180,000 children off of food benefits? Well, it's part of the big, beautiful bill. What? Wait a minute. How's that big and beautiful? That's not big and beautiful. 180,000 children. How many fucking children were taken off in Texas? How many were taken off in Washington State or Nebraska? Who knows? It's got to be millions of children are going hungry now. How is that fucking possible? We're giving the government a quarter of the year's wages. You literally worked for the government and gave them every single dime you've made since January 1st. 5 days ago, you broke even. How does that not piss you off? How does that not make you absolutely full of rage? And how much of that money that we just gave them is actually going to go to do anything for any one of us? Any of us. Crickets. Because it doesn't. They don't care. Oh, God, loudspeaker in the darkness. You are just so fucking wrong. The bottom 90%. Did you realize that anyone who makes $15,000 a year or less, their taxes will go up next year by 25%. And then in 2029, they will go up by a total of 55%. I know he was convicted of a felony, but look, the politics is such a dirty, nasty bullshit game now that none of that matters anymore. I don't care. Look, you said your condo was worth $200,000 in order to get a loan, 20 million, whatever. See, these are the things that's all distraction. Oh, he misvalued his building. Okay. Did he do anything horrible to a 14-year-old girl? Oh, we don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Okay, but wait a minute. Hold on. That's old news, bro. It's time to move on. Says who? Well, said him. He said that. This Epstein thing is old. Okay, come on, man. Who cares? It's just a bunch of little kids. They don't even look, whatever. Whatever. Why are you being such a bitch about it? And it's like, really? You want to defend that? That's what you want to defend. Okay, well, guess what? You're not on my team. Call yourself whatever you want. Democrat, Republican, There's a name for that party. Pedos. It's a pedo party. How many Democrats and Republicans actually fit into that party? Oh, I think we'd be shocked to find out. And by God, I do want to find out. Who cares if they were overturned? Who cares if they weren't overturned? 37 stupid felonies about misrepresenting how much you paid on taxes or said your loan was worth. Look, again, it's a distraction. Oh my God. Did you realize that the guy who came in, he hung the wallpaper upside down? This flower print's completely... He's going to jail for this. Oh, really? What about the kid he shot outside? Oh, whatever. No big deal. It's like, guys, get your fucking priorities straight here. The ship is sinking. We have children going hungry while we go after Iran. For what? Weapons of mass destruction. Oh, because they're only 2 weeks away. Well, how 2 weeks away is this 2 weeks? Because the 2 weeks that I got back in 96 was very 2 weeks. Like, it was a hard 2 weeks. But what about 2002? That 2 weeks was even more serious because 9/11 had just happened. And Netanyahu said that this 2 weeks was just seriously 2 fucking weeks. Dos weekos, amigos. Ooh, well, shit, that sounds like 2 weeks. Okay, so they've been 2 weeks away for 30-something years. Whatever. So that's not the reason. Okay, what's the real reason? Well, they're killing their own people. Oh, so we're killing them because they're killing them. We're going to kill the shit out of you until you stop killing the shit out of you. You see where I'm going with this? You're going to get killed if you don't get it. If you look, Iranians are going to get killed. That's what I'm saying here. Okay, wait. What? Yeah. Oh, they actually killed their own people. In Iran. Yeah. Protesters. Yeah. Well, what were the protesters doing? Protesting. Were the protesters armed? Well, no, not initially. That's why there were only, there's like 300 protesters that were killed. 300 is a lot of fucking protesters, bro. Yeah, I know. So how do we go from 300 to 30,000 to 40,000 to 45,000? I mean, that's Israel level slaughter. How do you do that? Oh, well, the protesters were actually really well armed. Oh, where'd they get those weapons? Well, according to Trump, according to CNN, that played Trump standing on the lawn of the White House the other day talking, he said, we gave the protesters the weapons. No, we gave a bunch of them to the Kurds, but then the Kurds kept a lot of them. But then we gave a lot more to the protesters. So we armed the protesters so that they could start shooting at the fucking army. So then the army would overreact and shoot back, and then we would start a civil war. Why? Why? Why did we give them all those weapons? You'd have to ask him. Best part, half the weapons we gave them, and he said we gave them a lot. He literally said it that way. He said we gave them a lot. We gave them a lot of weapons, machine guns, all kinds of stuff. Huh. Okay, so you gave them a shitload of weapons. Why? Why would you do that? Let these protests just let them sort of matriculate through the community naturally. Like if the protests continue to spread, let them spread the way they did in Algeria. Okay, Algeria was perfect because what happened was once that guy immolated himself and once people started talking about the corruption of the religious government, it came to a point where you had protesters on one side and army on the other side. And in between, you had razor wire bundles strewn down the street. And I'll never forget watching this. This was several years ago, remember? And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I hope this clip doesn't end the way I think it's going to end. Because these protesters are literally leaning over the wire and grabbing the soldiers. Bro, this is not how that's like, you know how this story ends, right? No, you don't. The soldiers threw their weapons down and they threw blankets over the razor wire and the soldiers climbed over the wire. When you're right, you're right. Nobody shoots their brother. Nobody shoots their cousin. Nobody shoots a beautiful young woman that's standing in front of them, pleading with them to do the right thing. Doesn't happen that way. So we saw what was going on and we said, we got to take this up a notch. These protests, they're not going to go anywhere. Or if they do, God forbid they go the way that we think they might go, because we may end up with a sovereign nation that turns back into a democracy. Do you have any idea how much worse the Middle East gets if Iran goes back to the way it was before the Shah? Think about it for a second, kids. What happens if Iran becomes a democracy? Third largest oil fields on earth. And they become a democracy? What if they nationalize their oil? What if they do what Venezuela did 30 years ago to become one of the richest countries in the world? They nationalize the oil and they start sharing the wealth. Kind of like, oh, I don't know, Alaska. Move to Alaska. You get $4,000 a year. What the fuck for? Royalty. For what? Well, you're a citizen. So we have a natural resource. We're selling our natural resource and we're giving you your little teeny piece of the profit. But what if I have 5 kids? Well, do the math. Do the math, man. You get like 25 grand a year. But what about having to go to work? Well, you go to work, of course. Go to work, yeah. So I go to work and I make a good wage. Well, yeah, of course, everybody gets paid pretty well up there. Okay, so I go to work and I make my, I don't know, let's say I make $38,000 a year. Okay, that's decent. I mean, in a lot of big cities here, it's poor, but up there, let's say it's okay. And then on top of that, because I got kids, I get an extra $20-something thousand. Yeah. Because we have oil. Yeah. Why don't we do that in the United States? Ooh, watch your mouth, you commie son of a bitch. You socialist piece of crap. Do you want to go down in flames the way Norway? Okay, not Norway. Sweden. No, fuck that. Fuck. There's got to be somebody. Okay, help me out, guys. Let's name a socialist country, not communist, just socialist. Let's name a socialist country where there was no outside interference. Canada. Oh, that doesn't work though anymore. See, I remember when Canton. Oh, no, it doesn't work anymore either. See, here's the problem, guys. Those are two. Look, Canada and France were fucking great examples 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I remember people coming to me and saying, "Oh yeah, Canada, free medical care. Free must be shitty." No, it's actually pretty good. I mean, you got to wait in line sometimes. If you're rich and you got something you want to get done now, you come to the United States. But look, if you're just an average working stiff, it's a great medical system. No shit. Okay, well, what went wrong? Immigrants. Oh, you're race baiting, you're Islamophobic. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I guarantee you, if I said to you, look, I'm going to make California the richest state in the nation. Oh, it already is. Okay, I'm going to make it the richest country on earth. Well, how are you going to do that? Immigrants? Yeah, how? I'm going to bring the best Chinese. I'm going to bring the best Japanese. I'm going to bring some Mexicans. Love me some Mexicans. One of the highest second generation incomes of any group of people ever to come to the United States are Hispanics. All right. Hey, you know what? Your dad came over and busted his ass on a rooftop in Phoenix to do HVAC. And if you don't get an MBA, he's going to beat your ass. That's the way it's been for 200 years in this country. They really, really pound the education. You want to get a degree? Oh, you just want to go to college? You want to get a degree in pottery? Well, I hope you said your Hail Marys, because 98% of Mexico is Catholic. I hope you said your Hail Marys, because you're about to go meet your maker. No, you study something that makes sense. You work hard. You make a difference. How can you not love that? Would I bring in some Norwegians? They're weird. I know, I am one. Yeah, they're very literal weird people, but I love them. And they're damn fun to look at. So I'd bring some of them in, yeah. Let's see. Oh, you know what? There's some weird pockets around Africa where the people are really, really cool and intelligent. And there's I'll give you an example. I've always thought of Somalia as one of the most embarrassing places on earth because inbred. But Ethiopia is right next door, and Ethiopia is an absolutely amazing place. I don't know why they're so different from their neighbors, but they're very different. Ethiopia is beautiful. I would definitely bring some people who, it doesn't matter what they want to do, scholars, artists, whatever. He takes all kinds. Would I say that I'm going to find a bunch of people from countries that are extremely, I'll give you an example. I'm going to get a bunch of young, uneducated men from Sudan. I'm going to bring them in here, and I'm going to drop them off near South Beach. Why South Beach? Why would that matter? Well, South Beach is synonymous with a couple things. Super, super hot, barely dressed women, and pretty fucking hot men too. I mean, it's not my thing. I don't swish that way, but hey, they're damn good looking, That would be an absolute catastrophe, because you're talking about men who have never seen a woman's ankles. And now they're going to see a G-string on a woman who's at a Brazilian butt lift, which, by the way, I think is disgusting, but whatever. That's just my own personal opinion. It's not misinformation. Yeah, there's some cultural issues there. To bring people into this country from a country where they absolutely despise their government. They have zero faith in government, period. And they know that it's every man for himself. I don't know, man. That you really want that? Is that what you want to drop right into the middle of your little Ozzie and Harriet neighborhood? Nope. And here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. I might get kicked off for saying this, although it's not. Yeah, that is the United States in a lot of ways. It's worse. It's worse in Europe right now. We have a confluence of things that, think about this for a second, okay? Because this is really important. So, you mean like the Europeans that started America? Yes. Yeah, it was a mistake to write that, although I don't think it says in the Constitution that we're a melting pot. It was a mistake to think that we are a melting pot. We're not a melting pot. Okay? Cultures don't melt. Period. They don't melt. So go to Chicago, go to the southwestern part of Chicago. What you will see, what does native mean? Native Americans. Are you talking about the indigenous people that we got here to see eating each other, the cannibals? Because they weren't the first ones here. I study archaeology. That's my sport, is archaeology. It's what I do for fun in my downtime. And the books that I've read, the stories that I've read, the true stories of what it was like here before we got here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are there still Italian neighborhoods in Brooklyn? Some might argue Brooklyn is an Italian neighborhood. Are all the signs in Polish in southwestern Chicago? Yes. Abso-fucking-lutely. When you go to Flushing, Queens, is it Flushing, Queens, or is it actually more like, I don't know, Beijing? Because it's completely Chinese now. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as, this is the key, as long as your culture doesn't try to hurt my culture, as long as your culture and my culture mesh, okay? I'll give you an example. Because I love Mexicans. Mexican comes over here. What's that fucker want? What's he want? You snuck across the border. What do you want with me? Well, let's say probably, if I had to guess, more than 90% of the time, what he wants is he wants to have enough money to sneak his wife and daughter across. Because back in the old days, they would come over here and work their asses off on our farms and whatnot. They would make a bunch of money, and then when the season was over, they'd take it back to Mexico and live like kings. But you can't do that once they build a wall. So you can't leave and go back. So then they'd sneak over and they'd have to stay and hide. Well, you can't stay and hide if you're Catholic. How do you do that? You've got a wife. You've got children. Catholics are synonymous with families. It's part of the fabric of the Catholic Church. It's like saying, oh, he's a Mormon, but he doesn't hang out with his kids much. Bullshit. That's not how it works. So then you bring your kids over because you can't leave and go back. If you do, you might not be able to get back into the country. So instead, you save up enough money to sneak them across. Okay, now you got your wife and your kid in this country. Now what are you going to do? You're going to start a street gang? No. You're going to stand out in front of Home Depot and you're going to try to get a job. And once you get a job, then what happens? Well, hopefully, if you work your ass off, maybe you can convince the old white guy to keep you on. And if the old white guy keeps you on and keeps paying you, well, maybe maybe you can rent a little bit bigger apartment and move out from, your cousin Chewy. This is not criminal behavior. This is what makes the United States a great place. Should everybody just pour into the United States? No. But do I have a soft spot for people who are Christian, who want a family and want to work hard, want a nice neighborhood to live in, want a decent car to drive, go to church on Sunday, play their Oompa Oompa music a little loud on Saturday night, but that's cool. No, I have nothing against them. What about the guy who comes over from Sudan and decides that all those little girls it's just more than he can bear? And by the way, his religion teaches him that they're evil anyway, and he's not supposed to control his impulses because he's just a man. Yeah, he needs to go. He needs to go somewhere. Out or up, down, somewhere, but not here. Well, that's the thing. We all disagree about something. I don't have a huge problem. Now, if you said to me, well, what about people who sneak in from Somalia? No, I have a problem with that. Why do you have a problem with that? I have a problem with that because their culture does not mix with my culture, and it's my fucking country. Ooh. Whoa, does that sound like you are just so entitled? Yeah, I am entitled. We're all entitled. It's our fucking country. We're all entitled. Black, white, brown, doesn't matter. It's our country. We get to decide who spills in over the edges. And if we don't like you, get the fuck out. We don't like you. Running around pretending like we love everybody. Oh, it's okay. He doesn't think I'm a human being. He would totally grape my daughter if he could. Oh, he's going to act violent and stab me on the bus because he's just got to show his God. No. Look, you want to sneak into my country? Do it right. That's all I'm saying. Do it right. Sneak into my country as somebody who loves my country, who wants to come in and be a part of my country. Don't sneak into my country and then try to rip a piece of my country away from me and make it like your shithole country. No. You don't get to come here and pull us down. If you want to come here and let us pull you up, great. That's what everybody's done since the beginning of this country. Without papers. That's why they called Italians wops. Because they wrote without papers on their back in chalk at Ellis Island. Did they come here to drag my country down? No. They came here in hopes that we could help them up, and we did. We did. Who's we? It wasn't me. I wasn't born yet. But my point is this. When you come here because you want to be a vampire and suck the blood out of my country, don't be shocked when I get a little miffed. And trust me, there's a lot of us that you don't want to get miffed. There's a lot of guys out there who, yeah, you know what, we're a little soft around the middle now. But we were Marines, we were Rangers, we were guys who got the job done. And if you want to fuck around and find out in my country, you will. You don't want to do that. So if you want to come over here, whether you get a visa and overstay it, or if you just sneak the fuck in, maybe try to do something good for the country. Maybe try to make a positive difference. See how we feel about you then. Oh man, you should see, I caught this illegal immigrant. What was he doing? Well, he was painting people's fences and he was putting in flowers, and it was the craziest thing. His whole neighborhood looked better after 6 months of him being here. Oh, you got to get rid of that guy. I mean, no, you don't. No, you don't. Well, that's the point. Being positive about what's going on, what's happening to this country right now, that's hard, man. It's hard to be positive about this. Can we make it positive? Well, I mean, I'm doing what I can. Imagine if everybody that heard everything I said tonight, or anything of what I said tonight, went out and did exactly what I'm doing. Said, fuck it, I'm doing a live stream of my own. I don't care if 3 people listen. Who knows? Maybe one of those 3 is the next Gandhi. Ever think about that? Maybe one of those guys decides, you know what? I've been thinking about engineering, but no, I think I'm going to go to school and study the Bible. And he's the next Martin Luther King. Who knows where those people come from? But I am doing my part. I'm trying. Look, I haven't even talked about making money. Okay, this is not what I do for a living. This is what I do for a living. Okay, I wrote a book. That's what I do for a living. I'm doing this because I care, because I want people to understand that this country is literally flying down the freeway. Midnight, moonless midnight. Headlights are off, and we're heading for an overpass embutment. Nobody's wearing a seatbelt. We got the top down, baby. We got this motherfucker floored. This does not end well. Somebody needs to take control of the steering wheel. Somebody needs to turn on the headlights, and somebody needs to take their foot off the gas. Now, here's the thing. Do most immigrants come here to take? I don't think so. I don't really. I mean, I think about it, and it's like, a few years back, after my last divorce, where I lost millions, I went from an 8,000 square foot house in a big walled off, golf club, which is ironic since I don't play golf, but I moved to an area that was okay. It wasn't a great neighborhood, but it was okay. I needed a big house, so I got a big house that was in a neighborhood. Pretty much everybody in that neighborhood was Mexican. Everybody. I think there was one guy down the street that was old white guy. Now, there was one group of guys who always had cars in and out, stripping things off of them, whatever. I don't know what they were doing. But everybody else on that block, all these other Mexican families, they were all immigrants. And they were some of the hardest working, coolest people I ever met. And once they realized that I didn't have any problem with them, they treated me like family. It was crazy. They invite me over, they give me dishes. I didn't know what the fuck I was eating, but whatever it was, some of the most delicious food I've ever had in my life. Totally cool people. Half of them didn't even speak English. But you know what? They were just great people. And it's interesting because did they come here to take? Well, I mean, what does that mean? Yeah, they came here because they wanted to make more money. They wanted their kids to be able to have insurance, even if it's United Healthcare who fucks them over, at least they have something. So if their kid breaks an arm, it's not an injury that they suffer from the rest of their life. You have to understand, we don't think the way that a lot of people around the world think. Like, when you're born in this country, if your mom and dad are on welfare, you are born into the top 1/10 of wealth on earth. If your parents are on welfare and food stamps and they live in Section 8 housing, our standard of living is so much higher. So that's why when I say, when people come over here and their express desire is, I'm going to screw these people over, steal their money, send it back to the country of origin, and then eventually, if I get caught, I'll run back there because they won't prosecute me. That's not immigration, that's hit and run. What about the cartels? I think I think that the cartels are really interesting because, oh hell yeah, my book will be signed. If you just ordered a book, I'm definitely signing it, no question. The cartels are interesting. The cartels can't exist without the express permission of the United States government. Do I think that the CIA is directly involved in cartels? In my opinion, absolutely. There's no question in my mind. No question in my mind whatsoever. Why wouldn't they be? Read the charter of the CIA. My dad worked for the CIA. It says that anytime the CIA uses taxpayer funds for any project, black op or not, they have to go through the Senate Intel Committee. They have to explain what the operation is, what it does, why it costs what it costs, etc. Then Congress, once they look at it, will approve it and give them the money. If they use taxpayer funds, oh, well, wait a minute. What's the catch? What if they don't use taxpayer funds? What if I gave the CIA $100 million? Think about it. I'm serious. I went to the CIA and I said, look, guys, I know you guys are on my side. I know you're trying to do the best that you can. And I know that, these fucking clowns in Congress, they're a bunch of panty waist pussies. They won't do what you need done. Let's get it done, man. What do you need? Well, I mean, if we had $100 million, we'd get some things done. All right, here's your 100 mil. They don't have to report that to that op, whatever that op is, whatever that black op is, they don't have to report that now because it's not taxpayer money. Oh my God. Think about what I just said. Well, how could the CIA come up with its own funding? I can't think of any way. Can you? Can anybody think of any way that they might be able to come up with hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars? Think about this for a second. The CIA has absolutely, unequivocally, nobody disputes this. Not anyone I've ever met. And I do have a friend who is Delta. I have a friend who is Hostage Rescue Team, HRT. I know some guys. Buddy Danny, Cecile. All of them agree that the CIA has a secret army. It's tiny, but they are the best of the best. They are horrifyingly good at what they do. They are so insanely good at what they do that they actually scare the average spec ops dude. The average operator is good, the best in the world, some might say. I'm sure that there are some guys that, like special boat service and whatnot that would argue. But my point is, the CIA can do anything it wants. The CIA in the United States has to lay relatively low. They have to keep their shit together. They have to keep everything clean and tidy. Go across the border into Mexico. What are they allowed to do there? Anything they fucking want. What do you think, the Mexican government's going to stop them? Are you kidding me? Mexican government officials get killed all the time. All the time. Thousands of them. Thousands of government officials get killed. Dozens of them in one campaign got killed. Who killed him? Cartels, probably. Really? You sure? Yeah. Hey, guys are never caught. You know, somebody hit him from 1,000 yards out. Pretty impressive. Well, I mean, hell, if you can almost shoot the president of the United States, if you can pop Donald Trump when he's standing in broad daylight with thousands of people screaming, "There's a guy on the roof," what can't you do, right? So here's my point: drug cartels are allowed to exist. All of this is done for a very specific reason. There were no drug cartels in Venezuela last year. There was Tres Agua, but that was just a street gang. We all knew about that. That was a street gang. They took over an apartment building in Colorado. Yeah, in Colorado, and they terrorized the whole fucking apartment complex. And then they finally got busted, and that was that. Yeah. Okay. So wait, what happened with Agua? Oh, they went from street gang to international drug trafficking terrorists. A bunch of illegal immigrant punks. Yeah. They became the most dangerous international drug trafficking organization ever. And we had to take them out. Wait, drug trafficking terrorists. Yeah, they're terrorists. Well, I thought the definition was of terrorism was the use of force or violence to make somebody change their political opinion. Yeah, that's right, man. How the fuck were they doing that? Oh, you mean like real terror? No, they weren't like real terrorists. No, we use the word terrorism on everybody now. What? Like, wait, what? So wait, what about the guy with the mustache? The president? Oh, yeah, he's a terrorist. Terrorist? Well, what form of terrorism did he commit? Well, he allowed the drug guys to sell drugs. Terrorism is a use of violence or force to get somebody to change their political opinion. Well, okay, whatever. I want to be gay. Okay, so he's not a terrorist. Yes, he is. Because we said he is. What? Like, the American people are getting what they deserve. Not me. I don't deserve this. I deserve better. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I have these talks every night. I deserve better than this. The average American does not. No, that's the thing. Like race, first of all, you can't call Hispanics anything but white. They're white. So they're not a race. I mean, they are, but they're our race. And besides, what is race? That's stupid. The whole idea of race is idiotic. Okay? We're all in the same rock. With some people have more melanin in their skin. Oh, so that's a race? Yeah, we're going to call that a race. Well, what does a race mean? It means they have more melanin in their skin. Oh, but they're from a different continent. Oh, so that would make Europeans something other than Americans. But wait, Americans are black and white. And race is a bullshit construct of politicians to divide us. Oh, so wait, does that mean that all black people don't act exactly the same? No. No, they don't. Oh, well, but all white people act exactly the same and they're all evil. I didn't think so. Oh, but look at the TV. Watch the look. Turn on the TV. First of all, every commercial, everybody's black. because 12% of the population of the country is black. And so everybody in every commercial has to be black now. Why? Well, because that's fair. Okay. So, all right, great. And by the way, not only that, but on top of that, if there is a white male in the commercial, he's either got to be stupid, and then he'll have a woman correct him. Hopefully, if it's any luck at all, it'll be a black woman. But definitely a woman who will have to correct him. And because he'll pick out toilet paper that is shit toilet paper. Pardon the pun. That joke wrote itself. But anyway, and then she'll step in and she'll point out that, no, this is what you want. And he'll go, oh, that's good. And maybe he'll pick his nose and eat a booger. I don't know. But that's literally the last 30 years I've watched the dumbing down of the American white male. And, I mean, hey, it's not like we've ever done anything for humanity. White guys, I mean, what? I can't think of a single thing that we've invented as white men. I mean, obviously, other than art, literature, math, interstellar travel, railroads, electronics. But other than that, I mean, it's just, well, that's the thing, is that it depends on the white female. Now, if she's gay and she can kick the shit out of 20 Navy SEALs all at once while still managing to wear a tight vinyl outfit, then she's cool. I mean, look, it's nuts. It's nuts. And I get it. Look, I get it. It's a confluence of things that are happening all at once. And it's one of those, whoa, everything just came together. And it's almost like this huge cosmic collusion. What do I mean by that? Well, you guys, everybody sees the disparate things that are all going wrong and goes, oh my God, this is all wrong. This is terrible. But do you see the connection between, I don't know, tetraethyl lead in gasoline? Because in the 40s, we started putting lead in gas. And in the 50s and 60s and 70s, violence shot through the fucking ceiling. What? Yeah. Violence. Well, what kind of violence? Every kind. Pick a kind of violence. Whether it was grape or unaliving people, serial killers, I mean, you name it. Violence just went through the murders nationwide. Serial killers everywhere in the 70s and 80s. What the fuck? We don't have serial killers like that now. Why? Because we put lead in our gasoline and burned it, and it went into the fucking environment, and we breathed it in, and the lead gave us lead poisoning. Yeah. And what does lead do? It lowers your IQ, and it also lowers your ability to control your emotions. That's been proven and tested and proven and tested over and over and over again. Promoting race relations prevents anti-Semitism. Why would I care about anti-Semitism? Anti-Semitism is a funny thing. Everybody uses that term. Everybody says, you're anti-Semitic. What does that mean to me? Like, well, nanoplastics are different though, Shelley, because they just end up in my testicles. I mean, hell, I'm probably done using them. Well, I mean, I want to keep practicing. I just don't want to actually make, I don't know, maybe I have some more kids. But microplastics are one thing, okay? Microplastics are not good for you personally. They don't make you feel better. They might cause some cancers, but whatever. It's fucking roll of the dice. But when you put lead in the atmosphere and everybody breathes the lead, they go crazy. It's lead poisoning. You go fucking bananas. People don't realize the Roman Empire. No, you don't need fucking chemtrails, Sam. We don't need to worry about chemtrails. Aluminum? Aluminum's not good for you, bro. If you get aluminum in your bloodstream, literally the iron particles in your bloodstream that are stored in your brain, that are neurotransmitters, your brain will actually kick the iron out and absorb the aluminum instead, not knowing the difference. Aluminum doesn't transmit, but iron does. So what happens? Well, all of your synapses start to break down the neurotransmission. Well, what does that look like? Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. So here's my point, though. People don't realize that in the 4th century, Romans were using lead because it felt as heavy as gold. It was as dense as gold. So all of the rich people, if they couldn't afford gold, would use lead, plates, cups, etc. And within one generation of switching to lead, the Roman Empire fell forever. Well, unless, of course, you count the Catholic Church, in which case the Roman Empire never fell. It's still in charge. But no, I don't want to get controversial. And the bottom line is this. Rome, the Catholic Church, the Pope, but the pewter had lead in it. So, I mean, basically they added lead to pewter to make it feel as heavy as gold, which is crazy to me, but whatever. The fact that the Pope came out and said that the genocide, that all war is bad, that's the first time I've seen a really, really prominent Christian say, look, no, don't come to me and ask me for my permission to kill people. You can't do that. There are 1 million Christians living in Iran. 1 million. There are millions more that are living in Lebanon. The fucking president of Lebanon is Christian. Why would a bunch of Muslims vote for a Christian for president? Why would they do that? Because it's not a fundamentalist, backwards ass Muslim country. And there are a couple of real backwards countries that are Muslim. They're not synonymous, because you've got places like Lebanon. It's a Muslim nation too, but it's Muslims and Christians living together. But guess what? Israel hates them both equally. When people say to me, are you being anti-Semitic? Asking me why I would support Israel is literally, not figuratively, literally like asking a woman who has just been beaten to the point where she was hospitalized by her own husband why she's not going to go back to him and give him another chance. Why? I think it's pretty fucking obvious why. No, but you can't dislike them. Well, he's your husband. Okay, but he's a piece of crap and he beat me up. Doesn't matter. He's your husband. You have to support him. Now, I think we can all agree that would be a sickness, right? I have been married, but that would be a sickness, right? To tell a woman, look, I know he didn't say sorry because he's not sorry. And there's a good chance that it'll happen again if you step out of line, but you have to go back. No. Like if I heard someone giving a woman that had like her nose was bandaged from being broken and she had black eyes and a few lacerations, and they were giving her that advice, I'd step in. I'd say, whoa, what the hell's wrong with you? Don't you realize one of these times she's going to get killed? No, 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 no. You go straight to the fucking police, first of all. And then you get yourself either a psychiatrist or a priest. But you need to talk to somebody who's qualified to help you, because you're going to go through some shit. There's no easy way out of that. Trust me, I know. When it comes to being completely powerless and being beaten, I grew up with it every day. So I am one of those few guys that when women say, well, you don't understand what it's like being held down by a 250-pound man and beaten, not being able to be in control of your own destiny, knowing that whatever he decides, that's what's going to happen to you next. You have no control whatsoever. Yeah, actually I do. I know exactly what that feels like. So when people ask me, are you anti-Semitic? It's like, oh, you can't be anti-Semitic. Why not? Why not? Because you have to love the Jews. Says who? Well, the Jews. Wait, what? What happens if I don't? Oh, they'll fucking destroy you, man. Wait, why will I be destroyed? You have to love them. Don't you get it? You have to love them. And if I don't, you're anti-Semitic. Oh, well, what does that mean? Like, what's anti-Semitic mean? It means you're not for them. Okay, but what if they commit genocide? Don't finish that sentence, bro. They're going to feel like you're not for them. Okay? If they feel like you're not for them, well, what are they going to kill me? No, oh no, no, not that. Of course not. They'd never do that. But I mean, they might cancel you. What does cancellation mean exactly? Oh, your bank account could be closed. What? What are you talking about? My bank account? How could my bank account be closed because I said I don't like somebody? They're not just somebody, dude. It's them. So wait, are you telling me that I have to love the people that you're terrified of right now? And if I don't love them, they're going to hurt me. So I have to love them. And if the threat of hurting me makes me not like them, then they have to hurt me. Yeah, you nailed it. What? Well, I'm my German Shepherd. I could say I love my Doberman. Yeah, definitely love my son, my daughters, a shitload of them. Yeah, love them. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, that's the thing, though, is that God's chosen. Who told you that? They did. Oh my God, that's great. Wait, who said that you had to worship them? They did. Who said that if you don't worship them and powder their bottom after they go poopy, that you're going to go to hell for that? Well, they did. What? No, they did. Oh, okay. So what about Christ? Oh yeah, yeah, he's the guy. I mean, he's a Christian. Okay, that's impossible. You can't say that. What do you mean I can't say that? If you are a Christian you're anti-Semitic. Why does it take an autistic guy to come up with this shit? Why doesn't everybody know this? Doesn't everybody in the world know this? Don't we all know this? Don't we at least know this in our heart that if you're a Christian, you're anti-Semitic by definition. You realize that Jews don't call him Jesus Christ. They call him Jesus the Nazarene. They call us Nazarenes. They don't call us Christians because the word Christ means Savior. And they don't believe in him at all. They think that he practiced black magic, that he was a false prophet. They hate him. They hate him with a passion because he destroyed the lives of so many Jews. And when I say so many Jews, I mean you. You're supposed to be a Jew. And then this asshole came along and lied and lied and lied and lied and told you there was a better way and ripped you from the bosom of your actual religion. And now you're a bunch of confounded, stupid, crazy people who think some asshole, who, by the way, according to Judaism, is burning in a lake of excrement, that's your savior? Oh, God, you are so confused. I just told my daughter to go buy me an Ethiopian Bible a couple days ago. She's going to buy herself one, and she's going to buy me one. We're going to study it together. Yeah, there's a whole lot of books in there that we don't read. Is Ben agree with you? What gives you that? Whoa. All right. ZZ, start over. Turn on your spell check, brother, because I don't know what that means. Why do you think that everybody that you're talking to, ? Is Ben agree? Oh, is in agreement with what gives me the right? Oh, you're one of them. Ooh, okay. Well, they don't give you enough to write? I don't know why you think everybody agrees with you. Dude, that's why I'm on here. Because not everybody agrees with me. That's my whole point. Is if you don't agree with me, tell me why. If you do agree with me, well, then that's awesome because that makes you right. See what I did there? It's good, right? Come on, that was good. That was a little right in the nuts. That was a little below the belt punch there. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, man, we watch Bible study stuff together, but not just Bible study. Like we study the Talmud, we study the Mishnah Torah. The Mishnah Torah is like that is the compendium written by what everyone in Judaism agrees is one of the greatest rabbis in history, written in Spain hundreds of years ago. And every single time he uses the term Jesus the Nazarene, he says, may his bones be crushed to dust. His reasoning for that, because he explains why he says that every single time he brings up Jesus. And he said, because Jesus has stolen and hurt the Judaism, the true religion, so badly by misleading so many people and leading so many people astray, that his name can only be spoken as a curse. Now, if you don't know this, that's not my fault. I didn't make you ignorant, but I can help you become less ignorant. That's what I can promise you. Now, maybe there's something that you know that I don't. Share it. Where is their proof? Well, their proof is, hey, we were here first. Like, we believe what we believe. We have a list of things that the Savior must do. When our Savior comes, he has to fulfill this list of things. If he doesn't check every box, fuck him. He's not the real thing. Jesus didn't check every box. And of course, Christ's point was, hey, I'm here to just tell you the truth. I'm not going to check all your boxes. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you that you have gone the wrong way with this. Like, you're off track, guys. Like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. Do you understand that? And they said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and stone him to death. And once we stone him to death, then we'll crucify him. Oh, you didn't know that either, did you? Did you know that? That's what it says in the Jewish book. It says that they went out a month ahead of his execution and declared to everyone that would listen that if you have a reason that you believe that Jesus the Nazarene should be spared from the death penalty, come forward and speak his defense. And no one would defend him. So they stoned him to death and they hung him on a cross the day before Passover, just to make the point, just to drive the point home. I didn't make this shit up, man. I uncovered it. That's it. Don't believe me? Grab a copy of the Mishnah Torah. It's right there for you to read. Okay? Don't believe me? Read the Talmud. Read the Talmud. Having sex with a 3-year-old, it's okay, because it's like a poke in the eye. What? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Says so. Okay, hold on. Wait, what does this have to do with God? It's a great question. What did Jesus say about I don't know, porking each other? Nothing. I don't think he brought it up really. But what about if a dude porks a dude? What did he say about that? Nothing. Okay. Well, what did he say about a grown man doinking a 3-year-old? Did he say that her hymen would grow back, so it's really no big deal? No, actually, I don't think Jesus said a word about that. I don't remember Jesus talking about anything like that. Did he talk about how many people you could kill? No. Did he talk about how many people you should kill? No. Did he command anybody to kill anybody? No. Did he say that he turned sons against their fathers? Ooh, yes, he did. But what did he mean? Did he mean violently? No. No, he just meant philosophically. Like, once they had the message, once the message of love, not law, was given to a young man, he would look at his father, who was Jewish, who lived his life by a law with no love, and he would say, no, I don't choose that. Okay, so who did Jesus kill? God ordered genocide more than once. You actually believe that, Arthur? Seriously, I want you to just, for a second before you start typing, I want you to imagine whatever it is. I know it's not Charlton Heston in a bunch of robes. Okay, if you want to picture that, go ahead. But imagine the creator of the universe It's not my book. I'm quoting, but remember, the New Testament's my book. The Old Testament is not my book. Imagine for a second that you're the creator of the universe. Now you've created something in your own image. Now I can tell you this. I created my son in my image. I think he's a handsome bastard. He's got a lot of really quirky habits and things that he does that are a lot like mine. And it's funny because every once in a while he'll do something that gets on my nerves and I'll realize, oh, that's why I got on my dad's nerves. I did that too. And then I'll just not say anything because, look, my job is not to control what you become. My job is to help you become the best person that you can be and to learn how to navigate society. And, but like, if you have a habit that might get on my nerves, well, who the fuck am I to make you change your habit for me? It's called acceptance. So my point is that I would never destroy my son because he did something that violated one of my rules. Would I drag him out in the front yard and kill him? No. Would I take him out in the backyard and drown him? No. So the idea that the Old Testament puts forward, which is that God loves us so much that if we fuck up even a little bit, you're dead. You're deader than dead. How could you? You worthless piece of garbage. That to me doesn't sound like God. I want you to go back and I want you to kill everybody. The men, the women, definitely the children. You know what? Fucking kill their animals too. Wait, what? What'd their animals do? Hey, I'm God and I'm an angry old son of a bitch. I got hemorrhoids and I've been sitting on this throne for 100 billion bazillion years. I'm in a bad mood. Go kill everything. Does that actually sound like God? It just sounds silly. It's almost idiotic to believe that somebody reads a book that's full of sex and violence and go, yeah, that's definitely God. Okay, well, you know what? Sorry, but if that's God, I'm kicking his ass. Like, put him in front of me. Because that's not the God I worship. God I worship is infinite. That's an angry little piece of shit. That's an angry little vindictive man. Ooh, oh, wait a minute. I just hit on something really important, didn't I? That's a man. So, start in Genesis, which makes no sense. That's completely batshit fucking crazy, stupid. Oh, there's a man and a woman. And then they boink, and then they have a son. But then they have another son. But then one son kills the other son. And now there's back down to 3. And then God comes and says, hey, where's your brother? Because I don't know everything because I'm not God. But let's just pretend like I don't know everything. And you say, hey, what am I supposed to be his babysitter? And you go, I know what you did. Well, wait a minute, you fucking didn't know 30 seconds ago. Well, no, now I knew because I hear his blood crying out from the ground. You didn't hear it 30 seconds ago. It was in the ground. Look, I already killed him. You didn't hear that? Nope. Oh boy. Well, I guess I'm going to get killed too. No, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to cast you out. No, you can't cast me out. Why? Because the people will see me and they'll know who I am and they'll kill me. What people? There's only 3 of you on the fucking planet so far. No. I mean, the other people. Oh, the other people. The other people. Okay. Sure. But is that why when you say replenish something, that means replenish something. So I say to you, my glass is, well, in this case, it's half full. See how I did that? But let's just say we're empty. And I'd say, can you replenish my drink? Now that would be a little odd way to say it. I might say it that way just to be funny if I were in a Denny's or Waffle House. Excuse me, madam, can you replenish my drink, my hot, tasty beverage? But my point is this: you only replenish it once you've already had it. Then you can replenish it. So when God creates Adam and Eve and says, "Go out and replenish the earth," who are they filling in for? Like, what group of people were there before that are gone now? Because you're replenishing the earth with people. Because remember, you just created the earth. Well, yeah, we just created the earth. Okay, then how can you replenish the earth? Well, because it's actually older than you think. Well, no, look, first of all, we need to have a talk, God, because you created the universe. Yeah, how long did that take? A little while. You created the earth, just this rock. Yep, sure did. How long did that take? 6 long days. That took 6 days. Wow. You must have worked your ass off. Yeah, I was fucking beat, dude. I was so tired. On the 7th day, I had to rest. Wait, you rested? Wait, so your God got tired? I'm sorry, what? Whoever wrote Genesis was obviously a caveman, a troglodyte, a dipshit. And he was just writing based on what he thought. Like, okay, yeah, God came down and then he made everything and he smashed Adam together out of mud. And then he spit or something. Maybe it had an eye booger. And they added to it. And then it was a man. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's the point. Everybody knows that since the beginning of time, when the sun comes up, that's daybreak. When the sun goes down, that's sunset. Set, by the way, is named after the Egyptian god Set. But you're saying that like, oh, well, you don't know how long a day was. A day is a day. Don't try to lawyer your way around the fact that Genesis is an idiotically written piece of fiction. It's silly. That's why Jesus came. Jesus's point was, look, forget all that. It says in the Old Testament that if your son disrespects you, you must drag him to the gate of the town. And in front of the elders, you must stone him to death. You still believe that part? Because it's in there. Your kid ever talked back to you and you didn't kill him? Well, you're not going to heaven, are you? You are one terrible person. You don't listen to God because every word of it is 100% right. See? Why, Mary? The original sin was disobedience to God. You know, that's funny that you would say that because that in and of itself is idiotic. And I know you didn't think that up. You're just repeating what somebody else told you. Disobedience to God. See, when people think of God, they think of Charlton Heston. They think of their dad or their mom. And dad comes to you and he says, you better do this, get it done. And then he goes, he takes a nap, and he comes back and he says, God damn it, boy, why didn't you get it done? Now I'm going to have to punish you. See, that's not how it works with God. If God wants something, it's done. That's it. You can't have a thought outside of God. God is everything. Every single thought you will ever have in your life is God. Or God's nothing. See, there's no in between. There's no medium-sized gods and little gods and major gods. There's either God or there's no God. God is either everything or God is nothing. There's no in between. You're talking about the supreme being. You're talking about the whole. You're talking about everything in the universe, multiverses if they exist, everything, every living being, whether it's on this planet or some distant star somewhere, everything is a tiny part of this thing we call God. So the idea that you could disobey God is funny. That's like saying, I think I'm going to take a drink of that water, and then my hand punches me in the face on accident. What are you doing? I'm disobeying you. What? No, that's not how it works, bro. It's my hand. It does what I want. It doesn't disobey because it can't. It's part of the whole. See where I'm going with this? That whole, oh, well, God tries to trick you. He tries to tempt you. What? Why? Well, just to see if he could tempt himself. Wait, what? No, he's tempting you. Yes, but you're God. What do you mean I'm God? Well, you're a little piece of God. Just a little speck, a little particle. Maybe just like if you were looking at a sun, one of those teeny little electrons or a photon that's shooting off that sun. That photon's you, bro, compared to that sun. Well, guess what? You're part of the whole. Can't be outside of it. Oh, well, that's the thing. You can't use the Old Testament for morality. You can't do it. It's full of genocide. Why do you think that Gaza turned out the way it did? Why do you think that Gaza turned out the way it did? Gaza is a microcosm. That's why Christ came. Because if it weren't for Christ, Gaza would be everywhere all the time. We would all be them. We would all be doing what Israel's doing because he demanded it. He commanded it. He said we were the only ones that deserve this land. And I don't care if you're a beautiful little 10-year-old girl. I don't care if you're an upstanding, really nice, polite 14-year-old boy. You're the seed of my enemy. What? Yeah, there's no self-determination. It's all been predetermined. We're the chosen ones and you're not. So therefore, genocide's not genocide. When chickens come down with Newcastles, what do they call getting rid of 1 million chickens? Do they call that genocide? Truly. They don't call it genocide, do they? They call it culling. Culling. Culling the herd. What do you think Israel's doing? You think that's genocide? Those aren't humans. They're insects. They're vermin. You can't murder animals. You can kill them, but it's not murder. It's not murder. According to God and according to the law, it's not murder. Now, just because a bunch of sissy, whiny weasels want to charge them with war crimes and call it genocide, no, that's not genocide. You could kill 100,000 children as long as you don't kill a single Jewish child. Ask me again if I'm anti-Semitic because I choose not to worship them. Does that make me hate them? No. No. As a matter of fact, my guy only gave me one thing, one commandment. Now, Jesus the Nazarene, or Jesus the Christ, whatever you want to call him, he did pick one hell of a commandment, though, didn't he? And one commandment, what a bitch that is. Love thy neighbor. Come on, bro. Oh, do I have to? Truly, do I have to? All right. What about this? What about, can we just use the 10 commandments? Okay. I won't doink my neighbor's wife. I won't steal from my neighbor. Okay. I won't commit murder. What about those? Those are so easy. Nope. You have to love your neighbor. You have to cherish everybody. You have to love everyone, especially children. Not Jewish children, not Christian children, not Muslim children. Children. All children. Children are sacred. Every civilized country, every human being that's ever existed agreed on that. Oh, you hear about, oh, well, you know, the Chinese triad will do this, or the Russian mafia will do that. These are tiny groups of aberrations. Okay? They're animals and they act like animals. But as far as a civilization, what great civilization does that? None. We don't kill each other's children. We don't kill children, period. When we came to the United States initially, and we started having disagreements with the Native Americans, and then we saw that they were cannibals, and we saw that they actually not just ate each other, but literally cooked each other alive while cutting pieces of each other off, of opposing tribes, warriors. And we saw this, and we were just, as Christians, we were like, this is like they're eating each other. What is this? And then we saw that they would hang children from trees, babies, and use them as target practice. Can you imagine being a Victorian mind? Can you imagine being a pilgrim, being, granted, a little crazy? You're overly like Christian faith, and you believe in, like if people dance in the forest, they're witches and you burn them. That's a little over the top, thank you. But imagine that mindset, that piety of okay, I follow Christ. And remember, back then, it wasn't I follow Christ and I love the Jews. It was the Jews killed Jesus, I follow Christ. That's literally how it was back then. And you come to this new world and you start mixing with these people, they seem pretty cool. They actually help you in a lot of cases. So you try to start trading with them. Pretty soon you realize, like, oh shit, there's some things that they do that really, like, they don't fit the Bible. Okay, well, that's our book. That's the basis for this new world. What are we going to do about it? Of course, you try to push them into doing what you want. That's human nature. They sort of rebel. Now, they've had this problem before. There are reports of the tribes in the Northeast that when they came into contact with the Vikings, they killed them, which is why there were no Viking settlements in Newfoundland after a certain amount of time. I mean, the Vikings got here way before Columbus did, 500 years before Columbus. But they were only here for a while, and then the settlements disappeared. The Indians admitted that, yes, we had a problem with them, and we killed them. Oh, that's interesting. So my point is this. When we saw the way that they treated children, that was like the point where we snapped. And I still believe that has to be a line. That has to be a line that we never cross, that any civilization is allowed to cross. If you cross that line, if we can prove that you have crossed that line, knowingly crossed that line, that you don't try in whatever way you possibly can to save the children, if you go out of your way to kill children, and of course their mothers, people who are unarmed, people who are non-combatants, if you go out of your way to harm them, the world has to agree, like all of us, every civilization, China, Russia, Indonesia. I know how the Australians feel about this already, so I don't even have to mention them. But India, like everyone around the world, we have to agree that if you don't believe in Christ, that's your business. Okay, that's between you and your maker. And I'm from a religion that doesn't kill you for not believing. Okay? Now, Judaism does. Islam does. That's not misinformation. It's what's written in their book. Most of you don't know this, but in the Talmud, it says very clearly, in the Gemara, it says that even the best, not the worst, not okay, even the best Gentile should be put to death. Well, clearly they don't believe that. The Jews don't believe that. Then take it out of your book. Well, we can't take it out of the book. Well, you can't. You can't take that out of your book. But you want me to believe that you don't mean it, even though you've kept it in writing for over 1,000 years. Well, yeah, we're not going to get rid of it. Interesting. Yeah, but Arthur, where does it say in the Bible that we have to have an inquisition? Nowhere. That was a bunch of lunatics. That was literally just a bunch of lunatics. Christ never said have an inquisition. So the question is, why does it still say in the Muslim holy book that we have to be converted or killed because we're infidels? It says that. That's not misinformation. That's not me. I didn't make that up. I would never even think that. But when I read it, I went, oh shit, this is what the Quran says? This is what they're taught? That I'm an infidel? And the Tequil says that they're allowed to lie to me and it's not lying because it's for the benefit of Allah? So it's actually a virtue to lie? What the fuck? What? Wait, what kind of crazy, goofy fucking world is this? I got a religion that we came from that's violent and doesn't think I'm human. And then I got the one that came after ours that says that I'm human. And my guy was definitely a prophet, just not the last prophet, but he was a prophet. He made some great points. And, hey, as long as I convert to their religion, they don't have to kill me. You know what I think we should do? We should bring lots of those people in and let's live with them. Let's live with them. Now, I know you're thinking, wait a minute. That would be like if I said to you, hey, I know this guy and I think he'd make a great roommate. And you said, yeah, what's he like? And I go, oh, well, he does a lot of work with kids. He's a clown on the weekends. His name's John Wayne Gacy. Isn't that guy a serial killer? Yeah, I mean, look, you blow up 1,000 balloons, but you eat one person, you're a cannibal. Come on, that's not fair. And then the other guy, by the way, he's really cool, Jeffrey Dahmer. I think they'd make great roommates. And you're like, well, wait a minute, I I don't kill people. So what? They're murderers, dude. They're murderers, mass murderers. Yeah. What's your point? How do we live together? Well, just stay out of their way. Wait, that's not living. Like I have to live in fear that they're gonna turn on me at any moment? Yes, of course you do. But well, then why the fuck should I bring them to my house? Really? Oh, you're gonna be like that? What a dick. You're so selfish. God, you racist motherfucker. Do you see where I'm going with this, guys? I mean, how insane is this? It's just like, doesn't anybody have any common sense? By the way, you can order my book on my TikTok, on my channel. Just push the little thing that says order the book, and it'll take you right to it. So here's my point. When people say that I have to believe this, or that if I don't believe that, I'm a bad person. Okay, just give me some reasons. That's all I'm asking for. I'm just asking for common sense. Well, America's a melting pot. Okay, but I'm sorry, I need more than that. I mean, okay, it's a melting pot. So what does that mean? Well, we have strength through diversity. Okay, but what does that mean? Well, that means that the rainbow is it's what makes us beautiful. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to stick with you here, buddy, but like, can you give me something a little bit more concrete? Something like, I just want to sink my teeth into something here. Okay, I've got it. They hate you. They despise you. They're jealous of you. And they don't like you. And they think you're fat and ugly. Huh. Is that it? No, just to be clear, those are the reasons that I should bring them into the country. Or those are reasons I shouldn't bring them. No, you have to bring them into the country. I have to bring who into the country? Motherfucker. All right, let's do it. Let's start over. Diversity is our strength. We're a melting pot. And the more people from the more places that we get, the more happy we are. Okay. Gotcha. Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna bring I have some friends that are Mexicans. No fucking Mexicans. Are you crazy? Have you seen what they're like? Yeah, they're just like us. Christian, they're white, they're happy, they celebrate, they drink tequila and beer and party and eat too much sometimes, and they're a little chubby by the time they hit 50 like the rest of us. What am I missing? No, they're bad. Oh, okay, so we got to keep them out. Yes, keep them out. But aren't they Christian too? Catholic, whatever. Not really Christians. Oh, okay. So who should we bring in? Oh, we should definitely bring in some Somalis. And you know what? I got it. Pakistanis. Pakistanis. Wait. I don't even think they like us. No, they don't like us. They don't like us at all. Oh, so why are we bringing them in? Diversity is our strength, and we're a melting pot, you dumb son of a bitch. Do we have to say it again? It's like, it's just a circular, idiotic thing. It's just this thing that's it's so hard to wrap your head around. And it's a reality. Like what I'm telling you, if I said this is a possible future, yeah, the ones that we're bringing in legally. It's like, look, when you look at France and you look at all the people that's screaming Allah Akbar and killing people, where the fuck are they coming from? All over, but mostly Algeria. Why? Well, because France was in charge. They invaded Algeria whenever, and they were in charge of Algeria. And because they felt bad, they decided to let a bunch of Algerians come to France. Oh, and what did the Algerians do? Well, they realized early on that because France, Germany, England, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, basically all these nations, all of these nations, and the United States included, had become very genteel, not gentile, genteel, and very nice, and very meek. And they realized very quickly that, hey, you know what? You know how they say violence isn't the answer? That's complete horseshit. Violence is absolutely the answer. And so they started pushing people around and intimidating people and pulling knives on people or pulling guns on people. And the next thing you know, people are afraid of them. And then when somebody tries to confront them, they are smart enough to go, oh my God, you're doing this because of my religion, right? This is racial, isn't it? Racial? The fuck, you're Asian. Is this a joke? You're Asian. You're Pakistani, right? Yeah. You're from Southwestern Asia. Oh, but you're being, it's like, what? So the best part is they intimidate, they push and push and push and intimidate. When the police step in, they scream bloody murder about racism. So the police are afraid to do anything. The average person on the street is afraid of them, walks around in fear constantly. I remember being in Los Angeles, and I remember people would say to me, you're not going to walk there, are you? Wherever. And I go, yeah, why? And they go, at night? It's like, yeah, why? And it would dawn on me, oh yeah, I guess not everybody is, built like a fucking Bigfoot, like a Yeti, and does martial arts and all this other shit. So yeah, I guess I think differently. And, having a little bit of a hero complex and a chip on my shoulder, it's like, yeah, pull a knife on me, huh? All right, let's dance. That was my attitude. And now, have I paid for that? Oh, yeah. And I've been stabbed several times. But, I'm here. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, all right, like, I'm going to avoid these areas where I know there's going to be an issue just because of the color of my skin. Because if I say something to them about the color of their skin, I'm a horrible racist. If they say something to me, well, that's just 500 years of oppression, even though they've never been slaves. And I've never owned a slave. And I've never met anyone who was a slave. And my father didn't, and my grandfather didn't have slaves. My great-grandfather didn't. My great-great-grandfather and my great-uncle fought for the Union to free the slaves. Whatever. Bottom line is, that's a cultural thing. That's something that we did in this country. We created this huge division. And when I say we, I mean whoever's in charge of the media, whoever's in charge of the music industry, whoever the power, the money behind all of these hip hop artists, these death, gangster types that glorify just sex and death. That's all. Just sex and death. That's all there is. Sex and death. You know, drugs, booze, sex, death. That's it. It's like, wow. Grow up listening to that. I wonder what you're going to turn out like. And it's a funny thing about that because what's the most dangerous thing? What's the most dangerous group of people in the world to Israel? Who who is that really? Is it Muslims? Because Muslims and Jews, we know that they don't get along. But is it really Muslims? No, it's not Muslims, is it? Because what do Muslims have? Well, as far as technology, whatever they get from us or from Europe. And what are the United States and Europe predominantly? White Christians. So wait a minute. So if it weren't for the white Christians giving weapons to Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia, then the Muslim countries historically wouldn't have had a hell of a lot of help. And so here's my question. Who is the most dangerous to the Jewish state and to Jews in general? Is it the Muslims or is it the United States of America? Followed very closely by Europe. Because you can only act the way that they're acting right now for so long before people go, okay, you know what? They fooled us. Yeah, for 100 years, the Holocaust thing was all anybody could hear. It's all anybody could see. But then all of a sudden, Israel got to a point where it had some power. It had some punch. And what did it do? It crushed a bunch of unarmed civilians, women, children, the elderly. Did it in the most horrendous way. Raped people publicly. And when those people got caught, thousands of people showed up to defend them. Wait, but there's a video of a bunch of Israeli soldiers using a baton to rape a man so badly that he needed stitches, that he went to the hospital and he was hospitalized. He almost died from internal bleeding because of how far they rammed that stick inside of him and how hard they did it. And the outcry was against the Israeli government for arresting them. And they were released. They had to be released because so many people, so many Israelis, so many Jews showed up to riot if necessary to get them released. Because guess what? There's nothing wrong with what they did. Now that we all see that, things are starting to change. My guess is the reason that hip hop is what it is, and the reason that young black people are taught a death culture, and that the reason that there's so much division all of a sudden around the United States, divided by class, divided by color, divided by race, divided by religion, divided by everything. And who does all that division? Who did all that division? Who's been in charge of the media? Who's been in charge? Who's made us understand through the news who we are and what we want and what we do? Who's been trying to divide us internally? Who's been dumping people from Somalia into the middle of our heartland? Yeah, that's right. So the question, of course, is who's doing it in Europe? Don't you see the odd similarities? Like millions of people who fucking hate Europeans are being dumped into Europe. They're not being sent home. Well, wait a minute. Who's keeping them? Who's saying, no, 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 they hate us. They're going to grape us. They're going to unalive us. But they're just like us. Who's stupid enough to believe that? Huh. Nobody I know. So then the question is, well, but yeah, we say liberals here, but what does that mean? They don't have Democrats and Republicans the same way in every single European country. But with the exception of maybe Hungary and Poland, every single European country has been overrun. There are literally men in Poland who stand at the border. They stand along the fence. They're not military. They're just big, tatted up, muscular Polacks who are saying, don't try and climb that fence. And on the other side are thousands of Muslims just trying to get into Poland. Donald Trump. Really? You don't think it was around 10, 15 years ago? I remember when Occupy Wall Street started to really gain some ground back around 2000. It's funny. I noticed a lot of people say that there's not that, like one of the comments was just it's only there's 3% Muslims in the UK and now it's only 5%. Okay, 5% of the total population. Okay, and where are they? Well, if they're all in London, guess what? That means London is majority Muslim, which I believe it is. If it's not this year, it will be next year. So we got some issues we got to work on. I mean, we got some real issues we got to work on. I would say that we're not going to fix them tonight, but again, we're going down a road right now that if there's no power outage, if the power doesn't go out, if we don't have a total war, I still really, really want you guys to think about buying some extra food now. I saw, I saw a on I think it was Walmart or Amazon, one or the other. 3 20-pound bags of rice for like $33. 20-pound bags of rice, 3 of them for $33 delivered right to your house. I don't know, man. Look, it's just my suggestion. But I know that gas prices are not coming down. They are going to skyrocket. Today, the president said that he has been able to lower gas prices tremendously, bigly, or whatever he said, since he took office. Average gas price is $3 when he took office. It's $4 now. So average gas price nationwide has gone up by over 30%. Thank you, Donald. You're a lying sack of shit. We all know that now. They're going to keep rising. And the reason they're going to keep rising is because we may not have gas rationing here. We may not. Again, we have a lot of oil. But It's not for you. It's for the highest bidder. Your life does not depend on it. But there are tens of millions of lives in China that depend on it. There are thousands of lives in Japan that depend on it. 90% of their power has to come from somewhere else. This is not a joke for them. This is life or death. But for us, it's not life or death. So you're going to pay $6? You can pay $7? Remember, the president already said publicly, I watched him say it. He said, hey, gas prices might go up some more before they come down. It might. Okay. I can tell you this. If we get to a point where we're at $6 or $7 a gallon for gasoline, it's going to get to a point where some of you are not going to be able to buy enough gas to get to and from work, pick your kids up from school, etc., and buy the regular amount of groceries that you buy now. It will put you over the line. If that is the case, then what you need to do is you need to do whatever you need to do now. Look, credit card, borrow a couple bucks from a parent or something, and get some extra food. Now, something like this, something like pinto beans. Are pinto beans delicious by themselves? No. But a big bottle of beef bouillon doesn't cost much. It really doesn't. It's $5. Things like these are things that you may have to learn to live with temporarily. Now, my book is about how to do it permanently if the shit hits the fan. It's about the things that you're going to need to understand, the things that you're going to need to, your mindset, specific actions that you need to take or not take, depending on who you are and where you live. But from the standpoint of beans and rice, why not? Why not? Look, let's say I'm wrong. Let's say I'm crazy. And you don't even like beans and rice. 2 years from now, you take them down, you give them to your food bank. The food bank gives you tax credit, direct tax credit. Okay, so there you go. Exact same amount that you paid now. And then if you want, you can go buy more fresh stuff. If for some reason you don't think you'll ever need it again, then don't buy it again. Well, that's what thrift stores are for. You go to a thrift store. Some of the best books I've ever read were when I was young and I was in a thrift store and I just looked over and went, huh, that's an interesting title. What is that about? Went and pulled it out of the case and $85,460. What would that be? 85,460. How many ounces of silver would that be? Oh, it'd be 1,000 ounces. That's what I'm guessing. Let me see. Oop, no, I don't want to leave that site. Krasavina, 700. Well, hi there. Norway oil made Norwegians rich, not the companies. Yeah, that's not going to work here. That's not going to work here. Norwegian oil made Norwegians rich because Norwegians all look alike. They all practice the same religion. They are what we call a homogeneous society. And they don't have big corporations trying to divide them. If we tried that here, the amount of videos that we would just be awash in with like fat old black women saying, man, I got 15 kids and I ain't got no husband. Now, is it true? No, not necessarily. But will it trigger a lot of old white guys who are like, God damn it, I'm not sharing my oil resources with her. What has she ever done? Yep, that's exactly what they'll do. And that's exactly why we're in the situation we're in. Because we don't realize that we either swim together or we sink together. There's no way out of this. I mean, if you think you're just going to move to another country, normal people don't do that. Normal people don't ever leave their country. Most of them don't even leave their fucking city. So you're not just going to pull up stakes and move to South America or something crazy. Lots of rice and beans in Haiti. Oh, I'll bet. One of the most impoverished nations on earth. See, that's the thing. If you're a citizen of Norway, yeah, you get your share. That's awesome. I think that's awesome. You know, all those years that they lived there, just nothing to eat but moss and reindeer. It was a pretty shitty place to grow up, I imagine, back, 500 years ago. But now they got oil. Haiti should come here. Yeah, that's just what we need. Witchcraft. Oh. When I found out that there are more than a few people in South Africa that still practice witchcraft and that some of it requires child sacrifice, I thought, wow. Like, just wow. What do you do about how do you, where do you even start, By the way, I know I don't have a lot of woke liberal women that watch, but if you are a woke liberal woman and you want to be Don Quixote, there are genital mutilations that go on worldwide, millions of them every year. Start with that. The Epstein class did what? Anything it likes, and still does, because Donald Trump, the president of the United States, said, are we still on that? That's ancient history. We need to move on. Sorry, Donnie T. I'm never moving on from that. Not gonna happen. You violated the big one. Penile mutilations. No, they just call that beating it. You're not actually beating it. Okay, may as well end on that note, right? All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, and buy my book. It's right here. It's on my TikTok channel. Buy my book. It's good. Nice ad. Buy my book. It's good. I sound like a retard. Buy my book. It's good. All right, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.